Thank you, Brother Hochu, for your wonderful, wonderful introduction. And of course, brief summary of your life and experiences as an African diaspora. I was listening and reading some of the comments. Your story is very similar to many of us diaspora, but be it as it may, it's a reflection of the resilience that we have as African diaspora. I often describe ourselves as the indestructible African diaspora. Still we rise. To my sister, Sylvia, Amira, the entire ADDI team, to Dr. Beninula, my fellow brothers and sisters who have taken your time from your busy schedule to come and attend this webinar today. Thank you all so very much for taking time in your busy schedule to come and listen to us, come together and discuss how we can make a difference in our beloved continent. Some of you may have seen the video that's going around this weekend, where there's a gentleman talking about how they have a plan, the colonizers and others from around the world have an agreement that sub-Saharan Africa must never be developed because their sheer survival depends on the underdevelopment of sub-Saharan Africa. For those of you who have not seen that video, please make sure you reach out to Amira or to Sylvia and make sure you have a chance to look at that video. It's frightening, it's infuriating, but unfortunately, that is our reality. The reality is the economic structures and financial structures of this world were created, just like Brother Thomas said, for their benefit to the detriment of the developing countries. Majority of them are, of course, African countries. We must understand that. The question then becomes, is that going to be the destiny that we are going to leave our children, where we have no control of our natural resources, where we'll never be able to be in a position to own our Africa? As a mother, as a grandmother, I would like to say hell to the NO. We cannot allow that to happen. And I know when I say that, I'm speaking on behalf of millions of mothers and millions of grandmothers out there. As the origins of humanity, as Black women, we are mothers of humanity. As Black men, you are fathers of humanity. Life as we know it began in Africa. Why is it then the originators of humanity as we know it are being treated as the scum of the earth? The world knows what is being done to Africa is unacceptable. The exploitation of Africa can no longer continue. There are many good people who are not Black who wish Africa well. The biggest problem I found is that they simply do not know the games the powers that be are playing against our Africa. Many well-meaning people, they're sending donations to Africa, they're sending aid to Africa. If only they understood that Africa, the economic status of Africa, is designed to be that way. It is a plan that fits into the bigger global picture. And that until we begin to understand what is being done to us, there's no way we can begin to change our circumstances. I remember when I started speaking to what France was doing to Africa, and I highlighted the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. I was once talking to a class at one of the universities, and one of the students was French. Even as late as last year, he asked a question and he said, "Ambassador, I grew up in France and we were taught that the Africans were not civilized and that the French went to Africa to civilize the Africans. I never heard what you're talking about the French taking over $500 billion out of Africa every year. French themselves, French citizens, were not aware of what their government was doing in Africa. The same is true with many citizens of those Western countries that are exploiting Africa. The well-meaning citizens of those countries are not aware of the bigger strategy, the games that are being played by their governments on Africa. Everybody feels sorry for the continent. I wonder how these individuals who set out to exploit the motherland, how do they go to sleep every day? How do they tolerate the suffering that Africa is enduring? The millions of babies who are dying every day from starvation, the millions of women who are dying every day while giving birth to another life, the millions of unemployed youth who are dying, committing suicide, some of them out of desperation, hopelessness, and despair. All those conditions created by those who seek to continue to exploit our continent. What they do is create situations that we end up fighting ourselves over piddly little things that don't ultimately matter. Because until they decide that Africa can change, nothing is gonna change. The problem is we, the victims also, don't quite fully understand what is being done to us. So we are meant to fight for which brother, which sister got more of the chunk under the table. First, we must realize that they don't see us as their equals. First, we must realize that we are under the table. First, we must realize this table is in our house and that the food they're eating is food that we would have cooked for them. Then we go under the table and we wait for them to drop off a few crumbs as aid to our beloved continent. Crumbs from our food that they're eating on our table in our home. The only problem is we don't realize that we are under the table. And while we are under the table, they are making rules, creating laws and systems that keep us under the table, fighting over which brother and which sister got the larger chunk of the crumbs under the table. And while we are under the table, they want us to engage in diplomatic conversations. How do you have a diplomatic conversation with someone who is sitting on the table eating your food and you are under the table? And we're supposed to be nice. Let's have a diplomatic conversation until they go back to their home and make their own food and eat off of their tables. And we stay in our own homes, eating our food on our tables. Then, and only then, can we have truly diplomatic conversations as equals. That scenario is not where we are today. They don't see Africans as humans. They don't see Africans as humans with feelings just like they do. They don't see Africans as people who have desired just like their children wherever they live. In particular, the Europeans. What French kids, what German kids, what British kids need is exactly what African kids need too. The difference is we, the truly rich people, we are being treated as the poor ones. And after they have exploited us and they are siphoning our natural resources, they add value to our natural resources, they create jobs in their countries, they bring goods with added value back to Africa. And we are reduced to being, once again, consumers. We are reduced to being, once again, consumers. Look at West Africa and cocoa beans. We have a whole city of Hershey built out of cocoa beans from West Africa. We have a whole city called Cadbury built out of cocoa beans from West Africa. Where is Cadbury City in Africa? Where is Hershey City in Africa? Look at Switzerland. We go to hotels and grocery stores all over Africa. We are buying Swiss coffee, Swiss chocolates. Since when did Switzerland grow so much coffee? Since when did Switzerland grow so much tea? Grow chocolates, cocoa beans. It's all coming out of Africa. Some of the best teas and coffees are coming out of West Africa. Our farmers are being paid pennies to the dollar. And once again, we drink Swiss coffee that came from Ethiopia, Swiss coffee from Uganda via Switzerland. That is what I'm talking about, my brothers and sisters. It's about the exploitation of Africa that has been going on for centuries. That exploitation can no longer continue. There is too much suffering in our Africa. And we, the African diaspora, are the only ones, in my humble opinion, who can see clearly what is going on in our Africa. It's very difficult for a man who's struggling to make ends meet in Malawi to think continental. His day-to-day survival alone is mission impossible. And then you ask him to look at the bigger picture and think continental. We have a responsibility to pick up where our Pan-African fathers left. In 1963, when they met and failed to reach a consensus of building an Africa that spoke with one voice, as one continent, one heart, one mind, one soul. So they come up with a compromise decision, which they called the Organization of African Unity. Year in and year out, our African leaders would meet, and the issue of an Africa speaking with one voice was raised. And year in and year out, they failed to reach a consensus until April of 2018, when our African leaders finally agreed on a decision which they are now calling the African Continental Free Trade Area. The African Continental Free Trade Area dictates that come 2021, when the implementation begins, Africa is going to enter the world market as one customs union. The heads of states are saying, no more shall Malawi, shall Botswana, shall Tunisia, with their little bitty basket, go to the world market, while China is coming with a warship, and they're supposed to be equal on this globalized market. African countries are defeated. That's why they have no voice in dictating the price of our natural resources. They tell us what they want to pay us for our natural resources. Who does that? So the African Continental Free Trade Area is supposed to end all that. Here is the dilemma, my brothers and sisters. The brain drain out of Africa that started over 400 years ago continues to this very day. We have children of Africa who were taken out of Africa as slaves. They took the best and the fittest who they felt would survive the transatlantic journey, followed by the more recent immigrants who left in search of greener pastures, others running away from wars and famine. The end result is Africa does not have the capacity, intellectual capacity that Africa needs to build the Africa that we want. Let me remind you that the colonizers for over 600 years, they have been building the Africa that they wanted. An Africa that was designed and built roads that took the lumber from the forest to the nearest exit point out of that country. Railway lines that went from the mine to the nearest exit point out of that country. It was an Africa that worked for them. It was an Africa that they wanted. But now this moment is calling for Africans to stand up, and we must build the Africa that we want. The Africa that works for the children of Africa at home and abroad. The reality on the ground, my brothers and sisters, as we are looking towards the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, let's be clear about one thing. There's not a single African country today that has the capacity to build a railway line. There's not a single African country today that has the capacity to build an airport. Together, however, with the capacity that is currently on the continent and the capacity of the African diaspora around the globe, we have what we need to build the Africa that we want. It is therefore, my brothers and sisters, that I urge you to understand the importance of reversing the brain drain. The brain drain of many centuries out of Africa must be reversed. And that journey of reversing the brain drain begins now. It begins with you understanding the importance of us cleansing our minds of this horrible disease that is called the legacy of colonization, the legacy of slavery, the disease that has taught us to hate ourselves, the disease that has told us to dislike each other, to not trust each other, the disease that is keeping us even as we live here in the United States. And I know we have others who are listening from outside the United States, but I'd like to use the US as an example because it is a perfect melting pot, which is a perfect example. We're surrounded by what other ethnic groups are doing. Ask for the voices of the Indian diaspora, loud and clear. Ask for the voices of the Chinese diaspora, the Irish American, the German Americans, Italian Americans, all very loud and clear. But when you ask for the voices of the children of Africa, you might as well go to the graveyard. We are missing in action. We are missing in action. That has got to change. What more proof do we need to know that we can no longer continue to be the most disrespected race on earth? What else do you need to understand that you gotta have a serious conversation with the image in the mirror and ask yourself some very important questions, painful as they may be? Why do you feel the white man's eyes is colder than the black man's eyes? Why do you dislike yourself so much? Why don't you trust your brother and sister? Why do you think the way you do? I often tell my white friends that sometimes I wish I could be a fly on the wall when you all are talking about the dumb things that we Black people do. We do some of the dumbest things. I was talking to a niece of mine and she was laughing at herself. She said she's a nurse and they were getting ready to have a meeting. And some white nurse come along. She was sitting on the front row and she found herself getting up trying to give her a seat, and she thought to herself, oh no, I've been listening to Andy. I belong on this seat. So she ran back and sat back on her seat. But she had just gotten up and given up the seat because another white nurse had come to the front row. She didn't think she belonged to the front row. We automatically take the back door. Nobody tells us to do that. We automatically feel inferior. Nobody has ever sat us down and said you are inferior, but it has just been passed on from one generation to the other. Why do you feel the way that you do? Because we have been put to sleep. We have been taught this rule of divide and conquer. We have been beaten into submission and believing that we are inferior, that we're not as smart as they are. But that is wrong, and that is false. It was a narrative designed to keep us where they want us to be. How long are we going to allow this to continue? We have passed this gene of stupidity, this sense of inferiority. We pass it from our children, from one generation to the other. This has got to end, my brothers and sisters. It is precisely because of that mindset that we have normalized the abnormal. If you look at what is being done to us outside Africa, look at what is being done to us on the continent. What makes it even worse is that now we are being used as the instrument of our own self-destruction. I often talk about our own brothers and sisters who work at the World Bank. They're the ones being sent to Africa to encourage African governments to devalue their currencies when we are the ones with the gold. They are the ones who are being made to negotiate bad loans with Africans, loans with very high interest rates, monies that will keep African governments forever paying debt. The average African country today pays over a third of their GDP in debt repayment, and they'll never finish paying that debt. It is all by design. I wonder, all these young Africans who are working for the World Bank, why aren't they telling the heads of states? Why aren't they advising the foreign ministers, the ministers of finance? Don't do this. This could be done this way. But no, they want to preserve their position. So that just go along. And they're now the instruments of our own self-destruction. We have some serious introspecting to do as Black people. And that starts by us realizing and accepting that not only are we sick from this disease of the legacy of slavery and colonization, not only are we in the hospital, in the ward, we are in the intensive care, and we need healing. And the only way for you to seek that healing is, first and foremost, understand that you're sick. You don't go to the doctor's office unless you realize you're sick. Too many of us don't even realize we are sick. Let's heal from this disease, my brothers and sisters, because if we do not heal, no degree from Harvard, from Yale, from Oxford, or any other big universities around the world can heal you from this disease. You must understand that until we heal from this disease, nothing we do can change our Africa. You go to the boardroom with a colonized mind, garbage in, garbage out. So we are here today to talk about how we first and foremost must heal. We must understand what is being done to our Africa. We must understand how we are where we are, particularly our state of mind. Because once you are awoken, it doesn't matter where you end up, you will make the right decisions about your life, about your race, about your continent. Because everybody else, all other races, all other ethnic groups, they're looking out for themselves. We're simply asking that we do the same. Particularly now, with the African Continental Free Trade Area. Africa does not have the capacity Africa needs to build the Africa we want. Africa does not have the capacity to benefit from what our Pan-African fathers had hoped to accomplish, which is now being the finishing of what they wanted to see happen. The African Continental Free Trade Area as a decision is our only hope for true economic liberation of the continent and people of African descent at home and abroad. We must understand this program and understand it fully. Here is where we are. The Chinese are very aware of this decision. The Europeans are very aware of this decision. The Middle Easterners, the Indians, the Japanese, the Russians, they are all aware of this decision. And they have not only the intellectual capacity, but the financial resources, and they are ready. They have amassed, and they're just waiting for those boundaries that have kept African countries from trading with each other to open up. They are waiting to open their companies, to register their companies within the continent, because with the African Continental Free Trade Area, 90% of the goods that are going to be traded within Africa are going to be duty-free. They want to benefit from that. And because they have the financial capacity, they are the ones who are going to be taking the big continental projects. These projects are going to take 10, 20, 30 years to build, but they will take the contracts. By the time we wake up, all the big continental projects that they benefited from and created generational wealth wherever they live are going to be taken away from us in our Africa. We are going to be reduced to be workers. The Cape to Cairo highway is going to be built. The question is, who's going to own it? We will be reduced to be happy that we are the conductor of that train. We are going to be reduced to being happy that I can get up in the morning and ride a train from Cape Town and spend the night in Egypt and sell my goods there. That is all nice and good. There's nothing wrong with that. But we must also take it a step further. He must own that railway line. Let's take it a step further. That the high-speed railway from Senegal to Djibouti is going to be built. That it's going to be easier for us to fly around our beloved continent. It's not good enough that we have planes to fly. We must also build that plane, and we must own it, and we must own the airport. We must realize that for us to move our Africa, we must manufacture what we eat, what we wear. But not only must we make our own clothes, we must own the textile mill. Not only can we build brick houses, we must own the brickyard. I'm talking about true ownership. The only place that we can do that as Black people is Africa. You see, Black people, you do not go to China and drive the continental agenda, the development agenda for China. You do not develop the continental agenda of Europe, of any other country outside Africa. The only place that you can be on the driver's seat is Africa. My brothers and sisters, I am here to remind you that there is a seat, a vacant seat that has your name. If we do not come together to claim that seat, others are more than happy to come in and take over that seat. And when they take over that seat, our Africa this time is going to be gone for good. This is generational wealth that belongs to our children, grandchildren, and generations to come. We must unite for the sake of defending it by any means necessary. We have a responsibility to do so. Failure to defend what belongs to our children, there is a special place for all of us in hell. We must come together and defend our Africa. We must come together and defend that which belongs to our children, grandchildren, and generations to come. Let me make one thing clear. This is not about us. What we're talking about right here, I liken it to a proverb that my brother shared with me about planting trees in your village, knowing very well that you'll not be there to sit under that shade. Planting the tree in your village, knowing very well that you will not be around to enjoy the shade. That's what it's about. And that is why we are here today. On that note, allow me to introduce to you African Diaspora Development Institute, an institute that I created after leaving the office as African Union Permanent Representative to the United States, an entity that is designed to be the bridge between the African diaspora around the globe and the continent. Its main purpose is to organize the diaspora so we can organize, so we can go home and participate in the development and the building of the Africa that we want. We have several projects that are on the plate, but we now have what we are calling our flagship project. It is called the Travaco project, which is short for Trans-Africa Value Corridor. There are various trade corridors that have been designed and suggested on the continent, but the most expensive corridor to do business in Africa is trade between East Africa and West Africa along the belly of Africa. What we describe as the belly of Africa are countries from Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, DRC, Angola, Equatorial Guinea, Cameroon, Gabon, Congo Brazzaville. That is the belly of Africa. For goods to go from Kenya to Central African Republic, they have to be taken by ship all the way down to Cape Town, and then all the way up the west coast of Africa to Cameroon, only to be ferried into Central African Republic. And yes, somebody just said, what about Sudan? South Sudan, yes. So the belly of Africa, once we can open the belly of Africa, it's easier now to extend into West Africa, Southern Africa, and Northern Africa. The plan is to have a city starting in Tanzania with a major hub port and all the way to Africa, and everything in between. Every 200 to 300 kilometers, there will be a city that's going to be built based on these resources that are readily available in that area. Some cities will be based on cotton growing, all the way from growing cotton to textile manufacturing to the fashion industry. Cities will be built around jewelry. Cities are going to be built around manufacturing, building, construction materials. Cities will be built around manufacturing, hospital supplies, and so forth. To prepare the land for this development, 3 corridors have been established. or have been planned. One is called the utility corridor. We are going to need companies that are going to do nothing but lay down water pipelines from east to west. There are going to be companies doing nothing but lay down gas pipelines. Companies laying down fiber optics, smart grids. That is the utility corridor. The next corridor is the transportation corridor, which is going to involve the building of a railway line, high-speed railway line from the east part of Africa to the west part of Africa. Then we also have airports, companies that are going to do nothing but build airports. Others will build the seaports, and others will build bridges. And then we have the energy corridor that will involve companies that are going to do nothing but build power lines, power plants, be it hydro, be it solar, be it wind, be it nuclear. But we got to electrify the entire region and impact lives of over 500 million people. And then every 200 to 300 miles, a city and everything that is needed in a city, you can only imagine. I'm saying this to say, these are projects that are going to take 20 to 30 years to complete. Now you can only imagine the opportunities that are going to come out of this. We have one of our own brothers, a fellow diaspora, who was on the stock market for many years in New York City. But he has since gone home and has been working on this corridor for 15 years. He's been working with the African Union. He understands exactly what the African Continental Free Trade Area is calling for. He understands all the intricacies and how it's all gonna go down when implementation begins. He's now saying, my brothers and sisters in the diaspora, I've done my part. I've done the planning for Travaco. This is a corridor that if we can own it, it will put us on the driver's seat of the African continental agenda, which is exactly what this moment is calling for. This is what this moment is calling for. It's perfect that our brother has been working for 15 years. Before COVID, he was approached by the Chinese. They wanted to give him 500 million, which is what he needs to get started. Fortunately, COVID happened and he was not able to go into any agreement with them. But then since hearing about ADDR, he said, Ambassador, we must own this corridor. So we met, we discussed, we brought in some of our financial advisors who are diaspora, and they gave us a beautiful suggestion. They said, Ambassador, one of them works he is a co-owner of a hedge fund. He said, Ambassador, we can raise a bond, $500 million, with as little as 650,000. For 650,000, we can register a bond. This bond is already funded, and the funds can be available within 60 to 90 days. Now, you know, I got excited. I said, Brother Benunula, we got to go on this one. I said, I got brothers and sisters in the diaspora, 650,000. So I'm asking for $1 million because I also realize that right now, Dr. Benunula, he has all the plans for a training center. So we can start training the young people and expertise that we anticipate we are going to need. So we want to let's put it at $1 million. The remaining 350, we put some of it towards the training center, and the others we're going to be now funding the diaspora who are going to be traveling to Africa to actualize this program. So we are here today, my brothers and sisters, to talk about how we can come together and raise $1 million. $1 million, once we have that, it'll open the doors and put us on the driver's seat of the Continental Development Plan. Then some of you are saying, how can such a project only cost 500 million? Well, Brother Benunula actually has answers to all that. With $500 million, the funds are going to be used to acquire land from a very strategic position. Land that's going to be used for building the cities, and some of the land also has minerals. Minerals such as gold, diamonds, coltan, iron ore, copper. And with that, we monetize those minerals as we continue the construction And that's how we are going to continue funding the building of the Africa that we want. The highway, the high-speed highway, and the high-speed railway that will connect the Indian Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. All of it actualized by the first $1 million. Now, right here in the United States, we're looking at about 50 million Black people. Can we just not find 1,000 diaspora with $1,000? That is all we are asking, my brothers and sisters. 2,000 diaspora with $500, 4,000 diaspora with $250. Can we not do that, my brothers and sisters? This is all we're asking for. So we're here to say we need to come together. Brother Beninula has done his part. I've only gave you a little flavor of what the project is all about. I'm gonna bring him now to let you hear all from the horse's mouth. More details about this program. He understands fully what needs to be done. And when he's done giving you his presentation, then we have question and answer. For those of you who have any questions, he's here to answer any questions that you might have. Brother Beninula, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arikana. This is truly an honor to be here once again, to meet the engineers, architects, and allied professionals in the diaspora. This is excellent. Africa does not lack resources. Africa lacks organization. Africa lacks the passion to be selfless. And I think ADDI has brought those very, very important ingredients to the table. As you all know, we've worked across many continents, and it's not easy bringing together Black people, but everything has a time and a place. So today I would like to go into some very deep details, and I hope I won't take so much of your time. And the key points I would like to talk about today, because this is a follow-up discussion with engineers and allied professions, is really, we did the preliminary talk last time, and today it's about implementation. I'm here in the Middle East, and it's incredible what's happening around the world. I think the gods of Africa must be smiling from ear to ear. So I'll first start off with a recap of the global situation analysis. This is not the 1960s, it's not the 70s, nor is it the 80s. The world has changed, and I'll talk about why is the global situation very ripe for Africa's rise. Then I will briefly touch about Travaco. Why is it important for Africa to build these value corridors? And what motivated us to develop the Trans-Africa Valley Corridor. Then number 3, I will zero down on the Travaco Master Plan. We are talking to engineers, we are talking to architects, we are talking to project managers. These are the backbone of what is about to happen. If we lose the planning part, like we say, if you can't plan it, you probably won't be able to manage it. And if you can't manage it, you end up as a rail waiter, in your own railway system. Then number 4, we'll talk about the implementation steps. What's the implementation strategy of Travaco? Those construction and engineering work packages. How are we going to get this done? And number 5, we will talk about the Travaco Project Management Office. We've already submitted our TORs for the next stage, the master plan, including a draft list of professionals we need. And we've already spoken to ADDI about the urgency of creating centers of excellence. And we'll talk about, all these things in the Travaco PMO. Then finally, I would like to touch a bit on the financing. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot finance this using the traditional project finance model. So I'll be zeroing in on patient capital and structured project finance. So I want to begin, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you about the global situation analysis. It's a big topic, but I'll just summarize it. Number one, key takeaway, it's inevitable that Africa is the new growth engine of the world. It's a series of things have conspired. Many of these things you know, but if it wasn't for shortage of time, I would propose a minute of silence to the African women. They've provided us the wonderful positive demographics. And I was in Asia, a country I don't want to mention, and they are in total alarm bells are ringing all over the place. I think in previous years, for every one person that was born, they lost 250,000 persons. It's called negative demographics. I was in Singapore, oops, I just mentioned them. And I was watching in the evening, and they've created a ministry of, which I could loosely translate as love and romantics. And they are creating love packs. Why? Negative demographics. They can hardly get, their young people to do, the old traditional love making. And unfortunately, if you don't have new human beings coming on the planet, you cannot plan for railways, nor can you plan for power plants because there is no future consumption. We in investment banking, we call it the demand drivers. And in Africa, it's the total opposite. China is running out of rural manpower. Its growth model was premised on rural-urban migration, and they've been, the whole real estate, but China is getting to what we call an economic zero. They are in serious trouble. Let's not even talk about Europe. We know what has happened there. It's terrible. North America, has the immigration patterns from Africa and some from Central America, but the core of America, Europe, and a lot of Asia has reached peak urbanization. We call it the S-curve, and it's very, very worrying. So we all know what has been happening, a lot of quantitative easing, printing of money, but money is like seeds. You might have a very, very big silo, but you need fertile ground. And this fertile ground, ladies and gentlemen, you don't even need to panic, is Africa. So the trade loop, which we call it the traditional trade loop, was the Europe, US, and Asia. The Asians manufactured cheap, invested their excess earnings, we call it Forex, foreign exchange sterilization, and they invested it in the capital markets. Some of us who worked on Wall Street understand the game that was taking place in the mortgage-backed securities, and everybody was buying those toxic assets, but because they thought that's the only thing that would happen. So every 8 to 10 years, the global economy has been having a boom bust, and it has been resetting itself through monetary policy, which is basically the central banks manipulating money, but they've created a very toxic environment. So much money in the world that it has to get a place. Traditionally, this money has been like flood water, breaking into weak countries, creating wars. And unfortunately, there are certain things I wouldn't like to discuss here that has made that a very bad and losing proposition. And so in short, this is not a cyclical event. This is a structural problem in the global economy. There is as well a truth that everybody tries to avoid. It's the ethnic dimensions of capital. The problem with us Black people, every time we meet any person of another race, and 9 months later, after pregnancy, the baby that jumps out is not white or Indian, it's Black. And this has brought a very big fear when we guys working in the capital markets. You could have the best project, but ultimately they say, well, you guys are going to swallow us up, Unfortunately, we can't do anything about our melanin composition. That's a discussion for the doctors like Dr. Arikana, but it's a truth that has dictated global capital. But now this structural problem is facing a rethink. I was sitting in a country in Asia where they've given directives to their CEOs that you must marry Black women. And the Black men are being told you must really integrate, because the future of this planet lies in integrating into Africa. Otherwise there's no way they are going to come and take everything. So this discussion has been rather made very urgent with this thing called the pandemic, COVID. I'm being asked in Asia, I'm being asked in the Middle East where I am now, why aren't Africans dying, and falling and collapsing? I don't know whether it's the UV or some African gods that are showering blessings on us, but whatever it is, there's now a new concept called monetizing the environment. There is a premium to being in equatorial Africa, and they are all scrambling because it's really very, very bad. Now, China and Asia need a market for their excess capital. They really have excess capital. They have excess manufactured goods. But we in Africa are like a cow. You need to first feed us before you can milk us dry. Otherwise, there's no milk. We can't be the effective consumers, and they cannot be effective consumers for themselves. So I gave a plenary in Beijing, and everybody, the usual suspects were there, and they all challenged me: European Investment Bank, the World Bank, Exim Bank, Sinosure. And I told them, look, you've got it wrong. Unless you provide a different form of capital to Africa, where we become like, the Marshall Plan, then Africa will be able to become a global engine. And we have all the factors that can help the global economy. It's really spluttering and stuttering. And this is how Travaco became like, a very admired corridor. Dr. Arikana hinted on the kind of money they have put before us. And this was a result of our interaction with them. We're looking to convince them to change their capital. So ladies and gentlemen, Europe and America have a problem, and so does Asia. And why? It's because the model they have adopted for the last 40, 50 years, the so-called Bretton Woods, is very, very predatory model to the developed countries. In other words, we had to stay poor and they had to become very rich. Why? Anytime you develop a railway, anytime you try to develop a railway in Africa, they ask you for an off-taker, somebody who has capacity to guarantee the future of the infrastructure for the next 20 years, at least 40%. It's called an off-taker. Nobody in Africa, a manufacturer, has that capacity. So you end up with a big, miner or a big, commodity trader. And what is their interest? It is to get the commodity as efficiently as possible to the port at the least price. And this is called the extraction model. So Africa has been plagued by a system we didn't create, by a system that was created by the great powers, and it's called the project finance model, where our kids go to school, like we all did, unadvanced degrees, but it's studying in a system that was created. Now, this very system has come home to bite them in the butt, forgive my French, because now, they cannot just take iron ore to Qingdu in China, produce real estate, because they are running out of people and they are running out of demand. And the loop I talked about between Europe, America, and Asia has just snapped. So they are all scrambling, excess capital, excess manufactured goods, and Africa is still asleep. We are still thinking about the post-independence era, where we were walking around, heart in hand. And this brings me to the next part of my discussion, which is why Travaco. We all know that Africa has begun waking up. there's a new generation of leaders in Africa who are really, really pushing and fighting. And one of the results of that has been the creation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. I was very, very thrilled when they called us in Kigali, Rwanda, and the African Union said, look, we realize the mistakes we made in the Cotonou Agreement, in the Timbuktu Agreement. Africa has been signing lovely, lovely treaties. But why have they not been implemented? It's because the private sector and the diaspora were missing on that table. So they created the $1 trillion initiative led by the African Afro champions, my friend Edem in Ghana and the Ofuso in Ghana did a great job with President Obasanjo, Mbeki, Haile Mariam as patrons, and Raila Odinga. And for the first time, the politicians held the hands of their young African professionals and said, look, you lead the vision. This has been missing. You cannot do any project, whether in America or Asia, without the political patronage. And Africa has woken up and said, look, let's create a think tank. Let's give the role of implementing the new Africa to the private sector. Now, that's very, very important because the Africa Continental Free Trade Area has given the legal regulatory platform for cross-border value corridors like Travaco to thrive. And I have to emphasize that Travaco is not a dream. Each of the anchor projects of Travaco has been well scoped. I believe Tanzania 5 years, DRC 2 years, Uganda is home country, but I believe less years in Uganda than across many countries in Africa, Europe, Asia, and America. So we've copied and we've adopted best practices from around the world, but each of the projects is driven by a very, very good business case. Here where I am in Dubai, it was a poor little desert country that admired Central Africa, but because of visionary leadership and determination, they've built, an oasis of wealth. However, the desert is really eating them up, and that's something else to talk about one day. So Travaco is the realization process of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, but we are not alone. When we discuss Travaco, we are looking at linking and interlinking existing corridors. Without doing that, we would also create an extractive, system in Africa. There are corridors like Lobito, which is Lobito Port to Beira in Mozambique. There is the Dar es Salaam to Kigali corridor, which I was very, very honored to be a transaction advisor to advise in its inception stages. There's the LAPSAT corridor, but all these corridors have been designed by governments and they lack the essential value corridor approach, which I'll talk about later. Secondly, it's very important to understand that without our own ethnic patient capital, we fall short. He who pays the piper calls the shot. You cannot use the meager budgetary resources to build the prosperity that the Africans, whether in the diaspora or on the continent, desire. I mean, first of all, taxing your own people creates a lot of problems, and the budgetary resources are so small. That's why Africa finds itself in a huge infrastructure deficit. We have to generate patient capital in multiple times of our existing budgets. And I want to set the record straight. This is not going to take 10, 20 years because of the technology, because of the organization ADDI brings, because of the glut of money in the global capital markets. Travaco, the essential stages, the wow moment can be realized in 3 to 5 years. This should be good info for any of you trying to rush out of here to your creator. We can realize this 3 to 5 years. And then, of course, cities never stop growing. We can go to second phase, which will be the 10 to 15-year period. But the first 5 years and ramp-up periods, all we need is 5 to 7 years. Now, finally, in this second part, we have to realize that education is very important. We cannot keep generating master's holders and PhD engineers who can't even make a light bulb. You know, the theoretical education was part of the design, just like the financing, that has us begging all over the world, yet we hold the collateral. So how do we do it? In Travaco, we've designed centers of excellence, and we want to design more. Center of excellence for engineering and project management, center of excellence for project finance. And then we scale this up to the Travaco University. We don't believe in Africa that we retire. Actually, at 70 years in Africa, traditional Africa, that's the time you start a new family. So in Africa, in retirement, age is wisdom. So we must think differently and understand that we shouldn't allow the best of our people to be grown, to be sent to the countryside. And yet these would be the engineers and tutors of our youth. Now, the third point I wanted to talk about is the master plan. I sent to this ADDI Forum of Engineers the 7-year Travaco business plan, sent you the terms of reference, sent you the structure of critical labor we need. But let me repeat some of the key salient features of the Travaco master plan. Unlike the extraction corridors that just focus on the subsystems and transport energy. Yes, we call that in engineering and project management parlance the intended logistics system, the ILS. Now, this is, of course, the hub port, the railways, the pipelines, the fiber, the broadband. All this is well and good, but that is derived demand, all right? The centers of value, the organs of the Travaco are the corridor anchor towns. They must be master planned as special economic zones. And at the center of each of these corridor anchor towns must be an innovation and business incubation center. Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest wealth Africa has are its youth, not just the minerals, not the water, the fresh water, we know there's a lot there, not the energy, but our youth. And the innovation and business incubation centers are the ones that turn these youth, millions of them, into the new entrepreneurs, the new creators of African unicorns and camels. It's very, very important. And we've developed a program called the Innovation and Business Incubation Center for Africa, IBICA, a program we would like to work with our people in the diaspora and around the world to develop a system of creating these IBICs. Now, the IBICs anchor the SME parks. If we just develop corridor anchor towns and special economic zones for multinationals, we have failed. We could make all the rhetoric we want, but it must be a system of master plan so that we codify, we have bylaws in our master plan, planning guidelines, so that anybody who comes in this template, the IBICs are the DNA of the value corridor. Now, once we have the SME parks, and I'm not just talking about manufacturing, in the smile curve, manufacturing is just the lowest part of the value curve. In creating these SME parks, I'm looking at research and development, looking at branding, I'm looking at logistics, I'm looking at financing. Once we control the value ecosystem of the SMEs, we are home and dry, because the SMEs are the ecosystem that attract the multinationals, that attract the larger companies. They cannot survive without vibrant SMEs. Here in Dubai, the SMEs control 80% of the economy, all right? I think in China, it's almost like 85 to 90. So it's very, very important. So I have 5 minutes. So the patient capital is very, very important. And finally, the Travaco Trust that I'll talk about in the Q&E. The implementation, number one, is the master plan is the next phase. It will take about 18 months, 12 to 18 months. It requires about 550 million. concurrent to the execution of the master plan will be the development of a blockchain and digital economy team. Then third, there are quick wins during the 18-month, low-hanging fruit like the Kagera Aerotropolis, the Tanga Hub Port, and the beginning of the Tanga Kipsangani first phase of the railway, the Kasanda Gold City in Uganda, which has already started, the master plan and the artisanal miners, the Travaco University, and the Travaco Investment Bank. This is part of the implementation process. The manpower, we've already sent ADI, the composition of the PMO, but suffice to say that our development approach is EPCM, and we have to control with the EPC contractors the execution through subcontracting to competent firms in the diaspora and Africa. And to do this, we need very good people like systems engineers, because the master planning is a systems of systems approach. And for every anchor project, be it airport, railways, we need strategic planners, we need senior engineers, and of course, we need a surveying team that is top-notch, people who can do digital terrain mapping, LiDAR surveys, etc., etc. Finally, financing. Travaco does not burden host governments with sovereign guarantees. We don't use that approach. We use a structured project finance. The wonderful Dr. Arikana has described the MTN bond, which is simply we register the bond. These are legal regulatory costs, takes about 650,000. That's just one approach. The bond is insurance wrapped, sold on a private placement, and then the proceeds of the bond don't go directly to the project. We create a sink fund where our interbank traders trade that, and the yields from that then go to the projects, which then don't, it's self-amortizing. The excess profits go to the projects. So that's one approach. We also need to monetize our media. The diaspora in Africa has wonderful media talent, the singers, the performers. Today you can sell their videos across Asia and you make a lot of money. And then you take this money and you plow it into the project. We also have, we can create special purpose acquisition companies. ADDI has some ultra wealthy individuals. All you need is 20%. Take this company, this SPAC, to this stock exchange, raise money, and then we invite you. We can give you block shares in Travaco, in the holding company, or in the subsidiary. The master plan of Travaco will create about 20 potentially valuable companies, which would be very, very important. Finally, we are going to create the digitization of Travaco, and we plan to issue several cryptocurrencies to monetize the ecosystem, stablecoin based on the collateral we are going to create in the mines and cities. And it's a very wonderful story. We have, some things which are proprietary, but that is ready to go. So I thank you very much, and I'm sorry for running over time, but I'll be very, very happy to provide clarifications. And thank you very much. Back to Dr. Arikana. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. That was our guest speaker for the day, Dr. Beninula. Thank you for this outstanding presentation that you have shared with us today. You did that yesterday too, but today you gave us a little bit more meat than what we got yesterday. Dr. Arikana, did you want to say something before I move on? Because there's been some suggestions here about the contributions from yesterday. People are anxious to know how much we made, and there are people who are also, I think, currently donating, and they've asked for the payment handles. If Amira can share that with us on our screen, please. Your Excellency.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Beninula. Like I told you, he is the mastermind. He is a financial whiz. He has spent 15 years of his time really putting all this together. And as you can tell, this baby is ready for us to really give birth and begin taking care of this baby. Like I said, if we can start with first $1 million, which includes some of the startup costs. Remember ADDI, our mandate is to mobilize African diaspora to participate in the development of Africa. Our mandate is to create the environment that makes it easy. With $1 million, I can tell you, he has already told you, there are mines gold mines that are ready for us to acquire right now. I was just, I'd be happy to share with you some of the proposals. For $4 to $6 million, we can be 50% owners of a gold mine. The opportunities in our Africa are endless. So that $500 million, what Dr. Benenula has laid out for us is to say we then acquire certain assets that will continue to give us more funding that we need. It cannot get any better than this. So getting that first 1 million will open so many opportunities for us in our Africa in a way that puts us at the same competitive position with those with money. The only difference with them is they don't have the advantage of being children of Africa. Once we have our funding, believe me, the heads of states want us to come to Africa. The reason they're not coming to us is because they see us as poor. They see us as disorganized. So the contracts are going outside because they have no way of reaching out to us. But now with ADDI, we are challenging them. Reach out, call ADDI, and we will mobilize the diaspora. We are simply playing defense to say our Africa belongs to us. And before our heads of states can go outside, once we are organized and they know we are sitting at a bond with 500 million, the conversation is over. They don't have a choice but to give us priority. So we're not only are we creating our own endless opportunities, but whatever else is coming from other countries, we are going to be demanding that priority be given to the children of Africa. Because for once, we would have finally done what they have been hoping that we can do, which is coming together and pulling our intellectual capacity and pulling our financial resources and coming home united, which is what the Chinese did 30 years ago. The Chinese did not ask what China gave them, but they said, what can we give to China? And we are at that moment where we want to emulate what the Chinese did 30 years ago. We want, hopefully, 30 years from now, we can sit back and say, we did it. And all we are asking right now is $1 million to open up all the possibilities for our children and generations to come. Thank you so much, Dr. Benenula. We appreciate you for all the work that you are doing. We appreciate you for really putting it all together in a way that makes it easier for us, the children of Africa in the diaspora, to come home. And you are truly leading us in the direction that we have wanted to be led into. You are giving us this package, this Christmas present, nicely wrapped up in a bowl, ready for us to open and move, and for us to also walk the walk. So we thank you tremendously. Back to you, Sister Sylvia.
Thank you so very much. I have quite a lot of compliments. I think I'll save the compliments to the end if we have time. So can I just delve into the questions? Again, Dr. Benenula, thank you very much for the information shared, and Your Excellency, as always, thank you so very much as well for the information that you share with us on a daily basis. All right, let me go to these questions. 1 second, please, if I can find my spot here. All right, this is a statement, maybe as well as a question, Your Excellency. I'll just read it as it is. Racist white people can raise $1 million bail for murdered Derek Chauvin. Surely we must raise $1 million to build, we can raise $1 million to build our Travaco for Africa. Then it says, some of them I can't make sense of them, but I'm going to read them as it is. IMO $1 million is bare bones and will go quickly. Let's go in strong with minimum of $5 to $10 million and get contributions from heads of state and let the rest be raised by bond. It will give the investors confidence in the project when they see our level of commitment. Just my thoughts, Your Excellency. With
we will not go to the heads of states. If we're going to wait for the heads of states to give us money, we might as well forget it. We will do this on our own. That's why we are starting with 1 million. We know with 1 million, we can get started and actualize the things that we want to actualize. At some point, I can tell you, if we have to go to the African heads of state, just forget it. It's not going to happen. And I'm talking from experience. So let's just be realistic.
Thank you. With 262 people on this call right now today, $1,000 from each of us is 1/4 of the way there. If we can do more, we can move faster. Will these, then the next one is, will these ADDI project value corridor mining / road construction, etc., going to need to be permitted by the host countries? Dr. Benenula? Dr. Benenula, are you there?
I can take that if you can't come on the call.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. What's going to happen is we are going from one country to the other. The way the African Union AFCFTA is set up, there are continental development teams, there are regional development teams, and there are national development teams. In each country, there's going to be an AFCFTA office. So as we go through, if it's a railway line, if it's an interstate, whatever it is that we're building that's going through that country, gas pipeline, water pipeline, fiber optic, we work with that government to get clearance. But most of the decisions when it comes to a project that falls within AFCFTA, it's really just a sign off because the decisions have already been agreed upon by the heads of states from the African Union. So once it's deemed a continental project under AFCFTA, it falls under different rules.
Thank you, Excellency.
Yeah. I would like to chip in to explain that
Okay.
most of Africa has very clear legal regulatory frameworks regarding private-public partnerships. In this particular instance, Dr. Arikana is right. If we take government money, we will fall under a PPP that is government-funded and government-led. However, Travaco was initiated by the private sector. So it's a private sector-led PPP. We do not need to follow the tedious and cumbersome procurement methods that belong to the public-led PPP. In other words, we can do the deals exactly like Dr. Arikana is saying. But let me add a caution here. As ADDI is appealing to the retail diasporas to come up to the table, you must understand that there are many, many other players in this. It's just a question of what seat you'll occupy in this big symposium. Our heart is with the diaspora and the Africans, but the project must move on. So we really need to move very, very fast because next year in July, Dr. Arikana wants us to unveil the master plan of Travaco. So there is really no time. That's why I'm in the Middle East, speaking to certain other parties. Fortunately, they are similar to us. We have to structure funding, but do not worry whether you come on the ground floor or you have to go slightly to the mezzanine or third floor. We will still take care of you, but please make it easy for us to do that by moving as fast as you can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor and Doctor. And Your Excellency.
Can I add one thing?
Yes.
I also wanted to say, Dr. Boninula is asking for diaspora specialists, experts, to be part of the team. So you will be part of the decision-making process of how this whole project is going to go. This is your baby. He's asking you professionals, that's why we are calling on you engineers and architects, to say, this is your baby. We know that in order to actualize this project, he's gonna need engineers. So he said, Ambassador, I need to speak to the engineers. And that's why we are reaching out to you guys to say, here it is, this is squarely on your lap. We cannot move Travaco without your expertise. And Dr. Benenula needs you badly. So all of you, let's make sure you get Dr. Benenula's phone number. We will make sure that, Ola, are you there?
Yes, she is.
Okay, please make sure that everybody that's on this call, including the doctors from yesterday, everybody gets the Travaco business plan, everybody gets the terms of reference. What else do they need to get, Dr. Benenula? Dr. Benenula? Okay, we'll find out what other documents he wants us to let you guys have, but we'll give you all the information. We'll also give you Dr. Benenula's phone number. If you have any questions, Dr. Benenula is looking for you to join him in making this a reality. So make no mistake about it. What you are giving, the donations you are making today are only going to help us actualize. Remember, a DDI, we're 501c3. Our job is to facilitate the diaspora, to create the environment that makes it easy for you to go and build the Africa that you want. So Dr. Benula is asking for you. You will be part of the planning process. We really want all of you to stand up, engineers and architects. We need you. We cannot act, he cannot do it alone. Yes, so the funding that we're talking about, getting the bond, that's how you will be paid. If you get a contract, if you go there as an employee, that's how you are going to be paid. So ADDI is just a facilitator. And so the $1 million, when we send you to go to Tanzania, to go to Uganda, to go to Equatorial Guinea, we want to be able to pay for you to travel, for you to stay in a hotel. So, but all we are asking at this point is for ADDI to have funds to facilitate that which you need to be doing. So yes, you will be in charge. Please flash Dr. Beninula's email and phone number. Everybody must have it. Feel free to reach out to him. He would appreciate that very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I was just going to read these two questions, but just to satisfy the audience that have posed these questions, I think you've answered them, but let me just read them one after the other. How do we contribute our ideas and thoughts towards the master plan? Then the second one was, who gets the contracts for all these projects? I believe you just answered that, Your Excellency, or would you like to further expound?
The ideas for the master plan, again, Dr. Beninula is looking for a team of engineers. So Brother Thomas, Engineer Thomas, I suggest you go through him if you want to be part of what's going on. Dr. Beninula is going to be working with Engineer Thomas to make sure that we end up with a team of engineers and architects and mining engineers as well, because already we have mining projects that are ready for us to just begin the mining already. So between mining engineers and other engineers, electrical, civil and mechanical, you need to work with Brother Thomas, and then you all can create a team. That's what Dr. Beninula is looking for. So all of you, make sure you reach out to Brother Thomas. Please, Sylvia, would you also flash out Engineer Thomas's phone number and email? So for us to be coordinated, it's better if you come through Brother Thomas, and then you all can have your own meetings now. We need to have a WhatsApp group where you can now continue to communicate with Dr. Beninula. And then all of you, eventually you come up with a team of engineers and mining as well as and architects. And you can now drive the agenda. He already has some engineers back home, but they're few. He needs more from you guys. So this is your baby, own it. This is your baby.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I just lost my spot here, 1 second. People are still interested in, oh, wait a minute, Your Excellency, we just received a donation from somebody for £2,500. And wow. This individual has also, can I, with your permission, the individual that sent us this invite, I'm just gonna have to read it. My apologies if it offends you, but you put your information there, so let me share. I really love this powerful idea.
I've been told that we shouldn't post Dr. Beninula's on the Facebook. So please, anybody that's on the call that need Dr. Beninula's information, you can go get it through Sylvia or Ola or Engineer Thomas.
But can I flash Engineer Thomas's number? I was just about it. Maybe they should just call us for those numbers too. What do you think?
I think you can flash Engineer Thomas. He's fine.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. I really love this powerful idea and the presentation. I would like to donate £2,500, not dollars, but United Kingdom pounds, and connect with you as you might want to learn about our project complementary to ADDI and the companies WeAfric, WEAFRIC, and they provided us with a website and I think Facebook contact as well. So we will be reaching out to you, sir. And like I put in the comment section, please reach us at info@raddi.org.
Could you also pass that on to Amira, please, and Abram?
Yeah, they have it. They have it on the chat. They send it to me through the chat. Yes.
Wonderful,
Yes,
wonderful.
yes.
Thank you, sir. We
right.
appreciate you.
All right, thank you. Your Excellency, how do we work directly with ADDI and approach sectors of our people as ADDI ambassadors?
Well, again, that's something that we can table with the board. And if the board approves the ADDI ambassadors, which I don't think they'll have a problem, Ola and Erica, if you could please make sure you put that on the agenda for our next board meeting for approval by the board. And then that would be a wonderful idea. Absolutely. We want ADDI ambassadors. We want as many people to talk about this. We really don't have time to waste, my brothers and sisters. This is a do or die moment. If we don't get ourselves organized by the first part of the year, we are finished. We are really just finished. You have no idea how much money has been put aside by the Chinese, the Europeans, the Middle Easterners for preparation to move into Africa and take what belongs to us. Let's be very clear about that.
Okay, the screen just jumped off when this came up. Okay, sorry about that.
Now, let me say this, guys. Dr. Beninula is a public servant. He truly does not mind having his phone out. He's just like me. I'm an open book. We're here to work. Dr. Beninula doesn't mind people calling him. He understands that this is something we need to do. So I really want people to feel free to reach out to Dr. Beninula. He wants to hear from you. Nobody's gonna call him just to bullshit with him. The people that are gonna reach out to him, they understand why they need to talk to him.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm gonna, so does that mean we have permission to give his number out too?
I think, yes, he has his number out and he's fine with it, yeah.
All right, thank you so much. All right, there's been 2 requests. Dr. Beninula, are you online?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Can we please, or do you, wait, can you do a separate presentation on Travaco only, so that I guess they want you to take your time to break everything down so that maybe you have a conversation with them? Your Excellency?
Absolutely.
I think they want you to take it from Tanzania to Equatorial Guinea. Just sure. They want to hear it in your own words. They heard it from a medical doctor. It's not the same.
You do quite a good job. You're being very humble. Yeah, but I would gladly like to do that. Just you need to give me like 48 hours notice. That's it. And a reminder call. And a reminder call from the very kind Olayinka and your team there, so that I can throw in my coffee and get to work.
You know what we will do? Could you tell me, Olayinka, when is the outreach event? It's next week, isn't it?
Yes, it's the 24th.
Okay, then what we will
October.
Do so then can you plan to do that on that event?
If you have, you need the whole thing, that takes about 20 minutes, 20 minutes.
Yes, yeah, just about 20 minutes. They just want to hear it from the horse's mouth. How do you progress from East Africa? How are you physically connecting the Indian Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean?
There are very few horses in Africa, in the wild, maybe from the elephant or camel's mouth.
Very true.
Dr. Beninula, don't kill me.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. So many donations are coming up. We are so grateful. Thank you guys.
Yes, the WhatsApp idea, I think this is for you, Your Excellency. The WhatsApp idea is a mammoth. We can get the continent's, we need to get the continent's youth on a media platform they know well. I am willing to create them, especially those for East Africa. And this is from Arthur Segawa. Your Excellency.
Okay, what was that again?
The WhatsApp idea is a mammoth. Can we get the continent's youth involved on a media platform they know well?
Which one is that?
The one he's talking about. He said he can create one with your permission. He wants to create a media platform where we can involve the youth from Africa.
Okay, we are open to any suggestions, but I only went with WhatsApp because what we have at this time. But if you can create something, that's wonderful.
All right. The $1,000 in that I lost my eyes. Okay, the $1,000 that we are putting in, is this an investment or is it a donation? If ADDI, hold on, Your Excellency, it goes on. Hold on, let me finish. If ADDI is a 5013, then is it tax deductible when filing for taxes in the USA? That's the complete thing. Sorry.
Yes, it is a donation. That's why I said these funds, we are using them to create, to actualize, to facilitate diaspora actualizing and participating in developmental projects in Africa. Yes, you will get a tax deduction. As a matter of fact, when you get that confirmation that you made a donation, we will be sending everybody our tax ID number that you can use for the deduction.
Another one for Your Excellency. Do you have a plan to create a university to equip the African youth with an education grounded in African values and realities?
As a matter of fact, Travaco University is part of the program. Right now, as we speak, our CFO is going to be talking about the project that he's working with Dr. Beninula. We are starting a training center. So yes, there will be a university starting with the training center that's going to be focused on training youth or on the specialization that we are going to need, starting with the construction of the major hub port, as well as the construction of the first city, which is going to be a petrochemical city. Dr. Beninula is pretty clear of what he needs. And so the training center is going to take into consideration all the initial needs for the when we begin to build this particular project.
Actually, let me chip in on that. We have set up the regional headquarters of Travaco in the capital city of Uganda. It's called Kampala, in a very strategic neighborhood where most of the embassies and international organizations are based. It's called Kololo. And I reached out to ADDI and told them that before the university comes on board, there is a very critical area in project and infrastructure finance. And we've broken apart the modules we were taught around the world, and we have Africanized them. And we need diaspora and African youth to be trained, because all our universities in Africa have so many expertise, but very little in structured project finance and investment banking. So we can roll out people 6 months, 9 months while working on the projects. So this is a center of excellence in project and infrastructure finance. And I wish to report that we have already started it. I think when I left Uganda, we had like 20 young men and women working 24 hours, being trained on real projects of Travaco. And many of you are going to be investors in the Trans-Africa Value Corridor. So you need them. You need these people to give you the honest evaluations so that you can understand your return on money without going to some guy in Asia to run you around and charge you millions of dollars. So we've already started. We are waiting on our lovely brother Abraham to mobilize more equipment, but we couldn't wait. The demand is so huge and we are time bound. So we've already started rolling out the manpower. And also over the last 10 years, we've trained over 600 young men and women. And our entire project finance team, our analysts, are all Africans. I mean, we trained them by ourselves day and night, beat them up in the bush. It was like boot camp, 24/7. So we've been doing this. We just need trainers from the diaspora. We need equipment from the diaspora. And ADDI has the whole list of what we need. After the Center of Excellence in Project and Infrastructure Finance, we need a Center of Excellence in Project Management, so that during the master planning phase, our young men and women are being mentored by the expert engineers and project managers. And this is the way we are going to build a very powerful project management office that then controls. Please be very clear. We cannot do the master plan ourselves. It's a conflict of interest. there are legal regulatory requirements. It must be done by an independent third party. But the supervisors, the managers of those external consultants, our internal consultants, must be ourselves. If I hire somebody from Scotland to oversee an external consulting engineer from Singapore, we've lost it. So that's the politics of managing projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take the last two questions here so that we move on with the program.
Oh, by the way, while you're on there, can I also say the list that Dr. Beninula gave us, we need about 100 computers, 100 laptops, 100 printers. So whatever you can do to donate, if you have anything to donate, we are looking at sending a whole container of this equipment that our young people are going to need in order to complete this training program. So if you have anything to donate, you know, somewhere that we can get these facilities. Abraham is spearheading the project. So please keep us informed, but those are the needs at a minimum, because we are looking at training. The first training session is going to have about 50 to 75 students, and then of course some for the offices. But those are his needs. Just thought I might let you know, since he mentioned giving us a list.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I believe you've answered this question already, Your Excellency, but this person just reposted the same thing you answered, so I hope you don't mind repeating yourself. I'm going to give you two questions. The first one is real short. What is, oh Jesus, when the screen changes, all right. What is the process for investing and what will be the expected returns? I believe you answered that, Your Excellency, but please go ahead one more time.
Well, right now, Dr. Beninula is going, at some point, he's going to talk about investing. But for now, we are talking about creating the environment that makes it easy for diaspora to go home. What he has told me, and I will ask him to expand on that. And that's what discussion he had with the finance people. Now, I'm going to put a disclaimer there. I'm not a finance person, so I'm just telling you my understanding of what I overheard them discussing. So Travaco is the parent company. There will be about 22 portfolio companies based on all the different corridors. So portfolio companies for water pipelines, for gas pipelines, for airports, for airport building, for building bridges, for building railway lines, for building the anchor cities, all the different sub-projects that are going to take place. Those are all going to be different investment portfolios, but those will be rolled out to you. As once you're part of that management team, they will be briefing you on an ongoing basis. Again, this project is going to be anchored by the engineers and architects. You are going to be the first ones in the know, because you will be the one doing the plans. So in terms of the investments, you will be creating those opportunities because you are part of the strategic planning. So I will be coming to you and asking you, what do we invest in? Because you guys are going to be working with Dr. Beninula to roll those opportunities. So let's get that clear. That's why we need a team that comes out of you guys, because you are going to be the driving engine. You're going to be the engine of the entire project and the driving force. Doctors can't build a hospital without you guys. Nobody can do anything without you engineers. And I need you to know that you are the engine. You are the drivers of this project.
Okay.
So you will be in the know of everything.
Thank you.
Dr. Beninula, do you want to add to that?
Yes, briefly. It's very important that we are cognizant of the Securities and Exchange Commission in America. The 501c3 supports issues that are education-related, training. It plays a facilitatory role. Of course, if the 501c3 sets up a foundation and sets up a trust, it can create what we call a closed-end fund. This takes money, this takes a process, but it can be done. And then the fund can be the vehicle through which the retail investors and institutional investors all come together as a pool to invest in Travaco. However, at this moment of master planning, the soft costs of the project, the diaspora can position themselves to be major players. And like the Dr. Arikana is telling you, this gives you access to a lot of information and presence on the ground. So these are 501c3 conduits, they are not investments. Now, you will have to work with ADDI to ensure that you get your tax refund because they are 501c3. But please use your investment advisors, use non-profit lawyers, make sure you structure it properly. We are opening the door, but you need to use all those processes. Now, Travaco has a holding company, and the door is closing, because if you have your 1,000, it becomes kind of difficult. You can still buy shares directly in Travaco. However, the pooled funds would be more effective if you came in as a group, and the pooled funds then have to use the closed-end fund or the investment clubs, and this can all be done. It's not rocket science. So I just wanted to separate the confusion between donations and investments. The 501c3 is very, very powerful. Some of you can donate equipment, all right, and still get some tax consideration. We need a lot of equipment, and some of you will need to come to during the master planning phase. So some of the donations can be to help a Center of Excellence instructor from the diaspora to come and work and teach, and their salaries are paid and their life is comfortable. But if you come in as individuals and you try to do individual deals with Travaco, we are back to square one. It will be very, very difficult for you. So please, organization is power. We are working with very many multinational companies, with capital market based, but a 501c3 is very, very powerful if it has a project like Travaco. So please empower ADDI. It's work in progress, but you now have an entity that we respect ideologically. So by bringing you in, add to what ADDI has put in place. And should you need to come in on the investment front, then my contacts are available. Contact me and we'll do investment structuring. But there are things you can do under the Securities and Exchange laws, and there are things you can't do. So you have to be very, very careful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I will read the last question, Your Excellency, so we move on. But if there are any other questions coming hereafter, if we still have time, after all the presentations are done, it'll be my pleasure to come back to them. But this
also, I wanted to say, if there are any that are going to be donating equipment, all we need is for you to donate it through ADDI, give us the value of the equipment, and we'll give you your tax deduction letter for the equipment that you donate.
Thank you so very much. This person, I believe, has been asking me this question. I guess I didn't see it. Jacqueline Coles. She says, how can I get my question answered about the black banks in the US that was, the black bank in the US that was to have been available for donations? Oh, when you change my screen, I can't read. Hold on. Let me start again. How can I get my question answered about the black banks in the US that was to have been available for donations? One United Bank and Industrial Bank. If I missed this answer, my apologies. I would like to donate through these means as well. Has that opportunity died or in the vine, Your Excellency?
Okay, what we were doing with Industrial Bank, we were encouraging people to open their own accounts in preparation for investing when the fund was finally registered. So that one, the fund is still in the making. It was the registration of the Diaspora Fund was delayed because of COVID. They still haven't been able to travel to Mauritius, which is where they needed to go. So that one, it was your own individual account. And so if you still have your money there, I suggest you keep it, or you can reach out to Dr. Beninula. Maybe you can invest in Travaco, but that's after he has finished up the structures. So that one was for investing in the Diaspora Fund, which is yet to be, the registration is yet to be completed.
Thank you so very much. There's been a lot of you who have publicized your entities or who you are or what you do. We appreciate that a whole lot, but I have responded to all of you to please go to info@ouraddi.org, info@ouraddi.org. Please send us your information for your organization, your company, your website, as well as your resume attached to that. We will be more than happy to respond to you. As you can see on this forum, we have a crunch for time so that I can proceed with what we're going through. Donations are coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will have the donations amount as soon as the CFO is finished talking, or the CFO actually can give us the numbers up to where he is when he's talking, so that all of you can see the money that's coming in. I'm being prompted that they are coming in, but I do not have any figures. There's about 6 or 7 of you asking how much, how much, how much. Yes, 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 the money is coming in, but please let the CFO give us his report first. Then if the tallies are ready by the CFO's talking, whatever we will be at, I believe the CFO can share that with us. Your Excellency, did you want to say something before I move on to the next part?
Well, I just realized that in my initial presentation, also, as I was establishing ADDI, I realized that part of the reason why we diaspora were not too keen on going home is because we didn't fully understand what was really going on at home, what was really happening in Africa. So in addition to establishing ADDI, I also wrote a book, which is called Africa 101, The Wake Up Call. It's basically from A to Z of what is being done, what has been done to us, what continues to be done to us, and why we are where we are today. I urge all of you to read this book and make sure that everybody in your family, your children, everybody must read this book. You will find that your eyes will be opened. I explained to the best that I could the things that are being done to us, the games that are being played, and how we got here. Africa 101, the wake-up call. Please go to africa101.org, africa101.org, and get a copy. If there are any of you who ordered the book already, we had some delays with the printer, but I now finally got the books. They're all in my garage, and I'm signing as fast as I can. Majority of people ordered the book that they needed my autograph. But by Friday next week, I should have all of them signed and out and mailed out. So I urge all of you to go to africa101.org. If you could please flash that website and get your copy. Thank you. Also, allow me to say my apologies for our website. It should be changing. We are going through. A lot of our team members are making their changes. They're doing updates. Give us another week or so. You should be seeing a very different website than the one you're seeing right now on the ADDI website. Thank you.
Your Excellency, somebody says, I love chapter 5. Somebody
Let
commented.
me tell you, that was
That's
a
my
very
favorite
difficult,
too.
that was a very difficult chapter to write. It was very difficult, but
Your Excellency, may I chip in? You
yes.
might be producing Africa 102 or 202. I don't know what you'll call it, because your book, has been shedding tears of what they did to us. Yes. Now it's your time. It's your time to smile. They are going to come running. There's a question that has been popping up on the screen. If you allow me, I'd like to address it. It's very dangerous. Somebody is asking that if they donate to ADDI, does that automatically qualify them to receive first preference or something for shares in Travaco? Would you like me to answer that?
Yes, please. I was actually coming to that one for you. I just saw it.
All right. So I think that it's very important to realize the partnerships and organizations we are covering in the diaspora and Africa. ADDI is a strategic partner to Travaco. In other words, if I'm looking for an engineer for a railway or, like my brother for the bridges, and I want to tell, maybe they have a company that does some serious construction work, where do I look? I come to ADDI and say, look, we are building a runway and I need runway company or construction. But by being a member of ADDI, it gives me credit, it gives me confidence that you are invested in the process. However, it doesn't give you shares in Travaco. It is becoming a member of a club When I was working in Washington, D.C. and New York, I tried to join an elite, I think they call them club, you know, it's terrible. They asked me to pay $25,000 for membership. Of course, you know, young African guy, I couldn't afford it, and I was cut out from very many deals. So Travaco gives you, ADDI gives you an opportunity. If you support it with what it's doing, this is an education forum, but please, it's not an investment opportunity. Under securities and exchange laws, the non-profit can facilitate, can educate, can train, and this is what we are doing now. If you really want to invest in Travaco, there's a process I have to pass you through. I need to see whether you are an accredited, a non-accredited, and then we talk about the opportunity. Have you read the business plan? In other words, we must follow the laws and respect them as they are. But ADDI is a very powerful member of the Travaco ecosystem. And by donating to ADDI, you're showing us that you are invested in this process. There is commitment there. And certainly you are considered very highly when we are selecting manpower. It is the role of ADDI to recommend people to me. I can't take them cold because I don't know who you are. It's very, very important that we have a vetting process. And I'm relying on ADDI to do that for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
If I may add to that, like I say, Dr. Beninula is looking for engineers, and he is going to be working with Engineer Thomas. So all of you who are on this call today, engineers and architects, please form your club with Engineer Thomas as your lead. And then you will be the ones creating a team that's going to work with Dr. Beninula. Like I said, you are getting the front row seat to this Travaco, the East-West Trans-Africa Value Corridor. You are taking the front seat. It doesn't get any better than that. And that's the advantage of being a member of ADDI, because you get exposed to all these opportunities. Believe me, there are more opportunities that I will be rolling out to you that you need to hear about. Really, really fascinating things. ADDI is being invited to participate in amazing things on the continent. Like I said, the heads of states were hungry to see diaspora united, believe me. Even the diaspora citizens at home are excited to know that the diaspora are now organized. Yes. So this is, we are creating it, and you are on the front row seat. You will be in the know every step of the way. No more shall things happen without us knowing. No more shall contracts be given without us knowing. And in this particular case, you will be the one sitting on the boardroom table, evaluating the contracts and giving and approving the contracts. Dr. Beninula is asking for you to come join him. So let's make sure we understand what's going on here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. I think you may have to answer this because it may cause a little bit of confusion. I know I said questions and answers, time was over, but 3 people have asked the same thing. So I think let's tackle it. I'll give you 2 in 1. Does it matter which project a person donates to? Because I'm already in the doctor's think tank. Then number 2, can you please tell us how to donate from outside Africa? It appears some people are having issues donating through the parameters that we have shared. And that'll be the last question, Your Excellency.
Well, I think we can wire funds. Ola, do you have the wire instructions for the bank account? I suggest that would be the best thing to do.
No, Abraham should have them.
Okay, Abraham is going to speak next. So we'll give you the information about wire transfer into the account. I think the rest, PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, or you can just send a check.
Some people are asking if they can start a GoFundMe for ADDI.
No, we don't want to do GoFundMe. We are not poor people.
Thank you. All right. All right. Thank you so very much for all those questions. I know I see I've received another 30 new messages, but you have to bear with me. The program still continues. Let me first move on with the program with the people that have been waiting to speak and share some more valuable information with you and with us via ADDI office. And then after that, if you people still want to stay on, we can continue with the questions and answers. And again, my apologies for those questions I have not gotten to. So
let me clarify what Sister Sylvia just said. we are continuing with the program. At the end of the program, if there's still some of you who have questions, I don't mind staying behind. This is our Zoom. We have unlimited time. I'll be happy to stay behind. Dr. Beninula is in Dubai. He's traveling. So I would like for him to go to bed, but I'll be happy to stay behind and answer any more questions that anybody has. But for now, let's proceed with the program.
Thank you very much.
Do I have your permission to go and catch up with my beauty sleep?
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Beninula. We appreciate you more than you can ever imagine. Can we please, everybody, let's give our hand to Dr. Beninula, please. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Wait a minute. Do men have beauty sleep or is it handsome sleep?
Oh, no, it's beauty. They're all beautiful.
Beauty? Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Doctor. Thank you.
Good night, Dr. Beninula.
Good night. Thank you very much.
Outstanding work, sir. Like I was saying, thank you very much, Your Excellency, for clarifying. You're staying behind after all the presentations are done. And at this point, I have the honor and privilege to now reach out to our community outreach call to action. And we are going to start with our Ras Jomo. Ras, take it away. Ras Jomo, are you on there? Let me check for him. 1 second, please, guy. Ras Jomo, are you online? I think he's gone. All right.
Let me go to the next one.
Let me replace our brother Ras. Oh, he's there. Come on, Ras. Unmute Ras Jomo for me, please. I see him smiling. There we go. Welcome, brother.
Okay, yeah, I was asking to unmute me. It's hard to ask to unmute when you're muted. Greetings, everyone. To all the ones there, I'm seeing, Ethiopians. I'm seeing people from Nigeria, from America, all over. I just want to greet everybody. The other, I guess, 268 persons on the call. I would like to extend my greetings. I have to get ready to go on air pretty soon, but I would just like to really expound on a couple of things, and I want to make sure that everyone knows that all of us should try to make sure that we register on ouraddi.org. Many people are on the call for the first time and have not had a chance to look at the structure of how the organization is going to be run and created. And today we are focusing on engineers, and there are many different facets of how the organization is going to work and be built, from women to work with engineers, working with different, artists, entertainers. With that being said, I think it is important for us to make sure that everyone on the call registers and sign themselves up, as well as with their businesses. For those of us who are in the diaspora, this message reminds us of what the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey was communicating. And I just want to focus in particular on today's topic. It was communicated in his speech that religion and science are going to be our only shields for modern materialism. He was prophesizing this in the 1900s. He said that we must have a race of scientists par excellence. So in this 21st century, we have to make sure that if we are educating our families, our children, that we have to keep the ability for us to focus on how do we use our education to develop ourselves, respect our ancestors, and also create a future. I hope that my son is still on the call. My son is a civil engineer, and we have also noted and communicated that there are many young minds who are now call themselves Afro-futurists. They've watched Wakanda, and the idea of science and technology has entered into their desire. It is the ability of our adults to make sure that we guide them and also create a place for them where we're not begging for jobs in the West, but we're building in our own home base. In addition to that, I think that it's important that we realize that when the Organization of African Unity was created, His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie told the whole body that Africa awaits its creators. He said that those who are going to build Africa are not on the shores now. It was a prophetic inclination to where we are today. So it's two words I want us to remember and kind of sleep on, and that's brain gain. It's brain gain. It's brain gain. We have to organize and take the best of our minds and build ourselves, our continent, and our progeny. In order for that to take place, we have to be mindful of the person named Jethro, which is why this organization is created. We have to organize our minds, our professions, and our skills so that we can benefit and grow ourselves. Those of us here in the West, those in the Caribbean, those in Europe. I see many of the persons inside of Europe are asking how to get on board. We have to link up with our ADDI. Sister Sylvia, I think you should let them know if people are interested in forming chapters. We have to keep reminding everyone that we have to organize and amass now. I'm here in Buffalo, New York. I'm working with New York State, Pennsylvania, Southern Ontario, or New Jersey, wherever needed. I'll be willing to help communicate. And I also want to communicate to everyone this aspect. It was on the bill as well. What are we going to do about education? There are a few curses that we have to get rid of, and they all have the B and the C acronym. One curse that we have to burn in the fire is the Berlin Conference. There are still some unfinished demons chasing us. We have to find out what happened before colonization. That's a BC that has caused problems to this day. And one of the oldest ones is before captivity. Our diaspora family needs to know what happened to all of us as individuals, as a family. We have to put our stories together. And one of the most important things that we could do right now is teach our history to ourselves. Family groups, community groups, religious groups. We need to get the books, and we need to be working ourselves on how do we re-educate ourselves to build for our own future. So if Africa belongs to Africa's children, we must assemble ourselves now. And I leave you all in peace. And I hope that we can continue to move forward and reach out. Our ADDI.org. Everyone should be registered as an individual and as a company, so we know who is who and where you are. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those inspiring words, my brother Russ Jomo, and thank you for staying on. I know you have to run to go back to your office. Peace, and thank you so very much. Our next presenter on the same inspiration call to action is Miss Amira Ansah. Come on, sis, take it away.
Hey, everybody. Brothers and sisters, can y'all hear me?
Oh, yes.
All right, wonderful. I am so glad that y'all are here. And I'm like behind the curtain right now, trying to see all of these donations that are coming in. I'm appreciating everybody that is really heeding to this call, because it really does mean a lot for us to be the founding mothers and fathers of this particular movement that we got going on here. Again, like I said yesterday, with Dr. Arikana at the helm, we cannot go wrong with this. You see that the plan is in place. You're kind of hearing the things that are being developed, and they're being put in place for you. They're being put in place for you to take advantage of from the perspective of your future, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and turn my camera on. From the perspective of your future. So kind of being in that mindset and understanding that that's where we are today, looking forward to building for our generations to come. So I'm just really, I'm super excited about the fact that we not only have a blueprint put in front of us of what it is that we can do in order to participate in the building of Africa, understanding that it does take for us to unite together. That is one of the main things that has become, has been an issue, is just the unity. I talked yesterday about functional unity. It's so important that we understand that working together is for our greater good. And looking forward to those of you who have purchased Ambassador's book. Her book is one of the things that is going to really help us to kind of free our minds, to really understand the things that we have gone through, to make it easier for us to understand that we need to make our next move our best move, right? So again, having the blueprint that we have in front of us, having the intellectual capacity of us as a collective to know and understand that we have what it takes, folks. We have what it takes to make this what we need it to be. It's like there's nothing else that we can do but do the right thing, right? But go ahead and just make this move. And so I implore you all to, as engineers, as architects, of those who are the creators, right? We like to create things. We like to invent things, right? We like to understand the origin of things and how they begin. And we like to take stuff apart and put it back together. So we have the tools right now to take apart what's happened to us and put it back together the way we want, for the Africa that we want, the way that we want it to be. And like I said, we always have to think from the end, right? What do we want to see? And again, we might not be the ones who are able to enjoy this. We might not actually see the fruits of our labor, but we have to understand that the generations that are coming up behind us are going to be in a better place if we do the work today. And there's a lot of work that has been done for us to allow us to be in the positions that we are today. So we have to, you know, take advantage of that and understand that it's our time. It's time for us to stand up. It's our defining moment. And you know, what else are we going to do? But make sure that we participate. So like everyone is saying, we want you to put your information in at the website, so we understand who you are and what your capabilities are, what your business is. So go to the website and put that in, because that's what we have, you know, put in place right now. So go there, do that. Make the donation. Make the donation. Whatever you spend on coffee money, I don't know, Jordan money, whatever it is, make the donation. Okay, it's a contribution to the future. Right. And a lot of us are putting in work and effort for this. And nobody has put in more work than Dr. Arikana has. Right. She has definitely like sacrificed her medical career. She has literally sacrificed her job. Right. They totally put her out because she was exposing folks. So you know that she is serious and she is compassionate about this, and she is guiding us in the right direction. And we have to stand with her. Like, what else are we going to do but stand with her and make this a reality? Because we have what it takes. And that's the bottom line, is we have what it takes. All it's going to take is a mindset shift so that we work together to get things done. Right. So again, I just want to go back and thank you all for those of you that are continuing to contribute. We're going to have our CFO come on in mere moments, and he is going to give an update as it relates to where we are so far. And so I'm just looking forward to that. I'm going to continue to share the information as I receive it, but I'm looking forward to continuing the rest of these webinars that we're going to be doing essentially every week. Just expect us to be out here every week. We're going to cover different sectors, different folks. We want to reach the education folks. You know, yesterday we did medical doctors. Today we have engineers and architects. We're going to be working with upper education, higher education. We're going to be working with primary education folks, business folks, entertainers, artists, all of that. So all of that is coming because we all have to come together. We are trying to build cities of excellence. That is our goal, right? And it's going to take millions of us to do it, right? So we can't have too many folks. We've already started developing these sectors and building out different areas. I am the director of community outreach. I need a lot of whole people on my team. Who is down with me? Somebody send me an email, please. I'm gonna put my email up. Who is down to help get people motivated to work for this mission? So that's what we're looking at, folks. We're trying to build chapters across the globe. We are trying to get people motivated to get this work done. And we kind of in the 11th hour. So we essentially kind of running out of time. But I'm just going to leave it at that. We're going to pass it over to the next person to give you a little inspiration. And then who next week needs to talk and motivate some people, because we need more people to be involved in this, in sending this message. Those of you who have donated, why'd you donate? I want to know. I want to know how you feel about how you invested your money. You know, so let's get you on the program for next time so you can share your experience and why you feel it's so important to donate and why you felt compelled to do it. So thank you all for the time. I appreciate you. I love each and every one of you. You are my brothers and sisters, and together we have to lock arms and get this done. Ashe.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so much, Amira. Excellent, excellent, excellent delivery. Like Amira says, let me just reiterate what she says. Those of you who'd like to be part of the inspirational call to action speakers, please reach out to us at info@raddi.org. At
You
that
can
note,
also,
let's,
you can put Amira's number directly. If they want to join her, that you can put
yeah,
Amira's
she's
number,
putting
they
it
can
on.
reach out. Okay,
Yeah, she's
wonderful.
putting it on herself. She said she was going to do that. If she doesn't, I'll
Okay.
definitely. Thank you, Excellency. Without further ado, let me bring in our last call to action speaker, Mr. Walter Carmack. Mr. Carmack, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Let's go with it. Let's take them down. Memory lane, brother.
All right. So I am so happy to see everybody on this call. I want to speak to our brothers. I want to speak. I know that there are a lot of our sisters on the call, and you have always been there. You've always been out front. But right now, I want to talk to our brothers. I want to talk to our brothers everywhere. The diaspora just means those of us that have been separated at one point or another from our beloved country. It's not just about Africans that were born on the continent, but those Africans that were stolen and now are displaced in other countries around the world. We are surely Africans as well. So I'm here to make that call. Our leader, we've heard it, wake up. When somebody comes in your room, when you're in there and you're sleeping, somebody says, wake up, what's our response? I'm up. And so that's what we got to do. We're up, and now we've got to get to work. So who is Walter Carmack? I'm a 73-year-old Harlem bred, born in New York City. I know what it's like to struggle. I'm a African-American whose parents, whose grandparents, whose great-grandparents were slaves. How do I know that? I'm not just saying it. When I wanted to find out who I was, because I was concerned about my family and where we came from in this country, I searched the archives. I saw the calligraphy that was written by the white folks. When I wanted to find out my great-great-grandfather and where he was, when he applied because he was a Cherokee, their name, he was a part of the Kituwa. They called Cherokees. I wanted to see where he was. Do you know how despondent I was when I read that my great-grandfather, where they said in their language and their handwriting, was that he was a slave and he was owned by white people. See? I was finished. I know that then that I must stand up and fight for what is right. So I'm calling for all of our brothers everywhere. No, we're not looking at Sunday football today, but we can have a tailgate party. We can have a tailgate party so that we can sit down and discuss these things. I'm reminded by someone that I heard speak on, he's on the ADDI Board of Directors, the Executive Director, and his name is Patrick Lumumba. You know what Professor Lumumba said? Are we the children of a lesser God? Should we think of ourselves less than we ought to? Are we going to stand around and believe that we are what they say we are? No, we can't do that. I remember our Curtis Mayfield. You should know who he is. I'm an old school guy. And if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to his song. We people who are darker than blue. Are we going to stand around and let others and what they say about us be true? No. Or is that really where it's at? No, that's not where it's at. We need to come together and stand up. We need to make a call. I'm calling for all, yeah, you see it. I'm in the military. I was in the military. I have a generation. My father, he's passed away now. He was a Korean War hero. Do you know back in the 50s how discriminating it was for us to be in the military and the things that they done to us? Even myself, in going in 1965, going to Vietnam, fighting for some capitalistic country that when we came back, they spit on us. They didn't give us. I heard somebody on the call yesterday talk about what they did to us in 21 when they talked about Tulsa, Oklahoma. Do you know them white folks went in there and bombed us and burned us up, flew around in their airplanes and their little and dropped bombs on us? We need to know our history. They did the same thing in Rosewood. Every time we try to take care of ourselves and unite, they try to come and destroy us. But we're not scared anymore. We're not frightened. I'm not frightened of the Chinese and their kung fu. I'm not scared of that. We brothers need to stand up with our women, not behind them, pushing them out in front of us, but let us stand up as the men we are, the warriors that we are, the warriors like Jomo Kenyatta, the warriors like Chaka Zulu, the warriors like Julian Malema, all of the brothers and the sisters, Marcus Garvey. What did Marcus say? I heard my brother Jomo mention his name. What did he say? He said, I shall return in a whirlwind. He said, look for me. This is that whirlwind, brother. Can you feel the breeze? Can you feel the breeze that's taken us back to the land that is ours? But we've got to do that. I'm calling on all the military brothers that are all around the world not to pick up arms. I'm not asking you to fight that way, but I'm willing to tell you that those brothers, we're the ones that built airline strips in the middle of a jungle so that our planes could land, bring in the equipment. We are the brothers that build airstrips and defense mechanism in Saudi Arabia and Afghanistan. We have the power, the know-how to do that. We will support you, engineers. We are behind you, doctors. We are behind the administrative staff. We're not afraid. We have the hearts of warriors like our ancestors. We are standing on the shoulders of those that went before us. But guess what? We now are the shoulders that our children shall be standing on, and we can't let them down. I heard our illustrious leader, Dr. Arikana. You know what she said? She said that what will our grandchildren say? What will my granddaughter say? What were the ones that you love so much? I saw one of the other brothers that was on the call, his grandson came, and he came and he sat next to him, and I saw his face looking into the camera because he wanted to know. What are we going to say to them? What did you do, Papa? What did you do, Papa Walter, during the COVID thing? What did you do when they were calling for us to go back to Africa to build our nation? And I'm going to tell them I was there. I was there because I needed to be there for you. So I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, we are woke because Dr. Arikana woke us up. We are woke because those things are still happening around us. We can no longer let them put their foot or their knee on our necks. No, I saw this picture. It was going down through and I'm going to finish because I've only got 5 minutes. But I remember seeing this picture and everyone commenting on it on Facebook. It was our brothers and sisters in Africa, and they had a Chinese man on their shoulders, and they were lifting him up like he was some king. And that's a disturbing look, that we are lifting these people up and parading them around Africa like we need them. We don't need them. I've had my full of Chinese food. I don't need it anymore. I've had my full of eating with chopsticks when I was over in Southeast Asia because they couldn't give me a fork. I'm not doing it anymore. So my brothers and my sisters, I will not be stopped. We cannot stop. We shall not be stopped. So what can we do? I say, let's pull this thing together. And let me say this while I'm closing. We got to stop this nonsense about our African brothers and sisters don't like us because we're in America. Huh? What is that? That is some foolishness from some peck of wood that still wants to divide us. How you going to tell me that you don't love me and I don't love you? Our skin color is the same. They've already classified us. Huh? Broad lips, broad nose, big lips, woolly hair, straight hair, dark skin, light skin. The only ones that don't know who we are is ourselves. We are together. So stop that. I want you brothers to reach out. Can I be real? I looked at all the names. Thomas, you did a great job. I saw it. You're beaten. There was that competition between the doctors and the engineers on who was going to gather and bring people together. Yes, it was a collective effort. We had just about 500 people in the last 2 calls. That's something. But I looked on there and I looked at the names and I saw the brothers there. And most of those names were our traditional brothers from the continent. That's an example of how our people are coming together. But where are you at, my brothers? Where are you old school brothers like me from 73 years old that was hanging around in New York and been to war? Where are you at, my brothers? I want you, my African brothers, reach out to your brothers. What do we have to do to come together? Have a tailgate party? Because I know if we're talking about football, baseball, basketball, tennis, whatever it is, everybody can come together for that. I'm telling you, let's come together for this. In closing, the whole world is watching. They're watching us. And that's why this is, you've read history. There was some great awakenings. As a matter of fact, they refer to 2 or 3 or 4 of them. But this shall be the greatest of all awakenings. Why? Because they said that we, the black man, we were shiftless, no good, good for nothing, couldn't do anything, lazy. So now we have a chance. It's not because we need to prove them wrong. It is because we are taking our rightful place, as our honorable leader has said. We're going to take our rightful place on the world stage as human beings. So the world is watching us. Don't let ourselves down. Don't let your children down. Don't let your grandchildren down. Don't let you stand up and be a man, a real man. And that's what I'm not saying that you're not a man. I'm not saying that. So don't get it twisted. I'm saying let's come together and stand up. Lastly, you know, one of our great leaders said that they can ride your back if you're standing up. If you bend over being subservient, they can jump on you, kick on you, knock you down and everything else. But once you stand up, and guess what? This guy that this video is going around telling us, oh yeah, they getting ready. Yeah, they're not gonna let us do that. I only saw 6 minutes of it, but that was enough. What are they saying? They really saying, hey, they getting ready to take the food out of our mouths. They getting ready to put us to work. We can't let that happen. They have told you that they're not going to let you do it. Do you think this thing that we're doing is some secret? They reason some of them probably on this call right now, or they're listening. They know. Yes, I know. The last statement, I promise you. This is like what our brother Malcolm said. The chickens have come home to roost. That's what they worried about. So look, I'm here. Somebody said, well, what do you do? I was in fiber optics for 20 years. We built this nation's backbone. We built it. We know Afro-American men did it. I was one of them that did it. So let's get this thing going. Let's get this ball rolling. All right. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'm helping wherever
Let's give him a round of applause. The 3 speakers, thank you so very much for this inspirational drive. Those of you who have not heard it, don't say you weren't on this call, because you were. You heard it from the people that are inspired by what Her Excellency is doing, like myself. I'm dedicated to this until, you know, death do us part, because this is our calling. This is all of us Black people. This is when we come together and do this thing together. Somebody just made a comment here, let me quote, and says, if the America and all the European nations were built on Black backs, why can we not build our own Africa? And I echo that. So without further ado, I'm sure our CFO is very anxious to give us a juicy financial update, juicy presentation on numbers coming in, as well as where ADDI is right now financially. And it is my pleasure to introduce our Chief Financial Officer, for those of you who don't know him. His name is Abraham Carons, C-A-R-O-N-S. C-A-R-N-O-S is his last name. Abraham, please take it away.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. I want to say a big thank you. Thank you so much for everyone, for your time, for your donations, for your engagement. I know we've gone way past 2 hours, but I want to quickly go over some numbers with you. My name is Abraham Carons. I am the CFO. I'm also a volunteer here as is everybody else. My daytime job, I work at Merrill Lynch. I'm a financial advisor and an investment banker. The reason I signed up to work with Madam Ambassador is because of her passion and love for Africa. This is a thankless job for her many times, but I know that she has inspired a lot of us to get active. And so I want to thank you all for being on the call today. So as far as numbers, I'm going to run through this real quickly in the interest of time. On this call today, we've raised almost $10,000, right? And the numbers are still coming in. So thank you for your donations. Yesterday, we had about 14 people, and we raised $12,480. No, $12,450. I'm going to quickly mention some names. Miss Ayat Abe, she donated $1,000. Helen Fosem, $1,000. Thank you. Mary Takwi, $1,000. Mr. Abayomi Utusajo, $1,000. Lisa Quiska, I butchered your name, $3,000. Buba Barrow, $1,000. Oyeyinka Tiger, $500. Alice Babi, $100. Catherine Revenue, $100. Sharice Desmond, $500. Freeze, $1,000. Constant Ebong, $1,000. Thank you all very much. As far as our operations fund, as of today, this quarter, we have $45,900. Now, let me be very upfront. I don't pay anyone's salary. So we're all volunteers. There's nobody on salary here on this staff. For our $1 million campaign, we have so far $17,000. Those numbers will increase today. Then the other funds that we have is our legacy project. We've got about $3,000 in that. Our women's empowerment project, we've got about $2,500. And our youth empowerment fund, we've got about $1,600. I want to be very clear. We are a 501c3. We're not an investment club. So these are donations. These are not investments. These are donations. I think that's all that I have for you. As far as the equipments are concerned for the Center of Excellence in Uganda, please feel free to reach out to me. We're looking for computers. We're looking for lights, lenses. We're looking for, I've had them post the equipment list on this forum. If you can support, donate, contribute, we definitely appreciate that. Okay, thank you.
CFO, you did not read out the names for today, contributions from today. What you read was yesterday. Abraham, we can't hear you. Okay, can somebody unmute him? Can somebody? Yeah.
Amira, can you help me flash the names from today? I can see those in real time. Can you help me flash the names?
Sure. Absolutely.
Please.
So the names you read were from yesterday.
Those are the names from yesterday. These are the names today. Alice B100.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll go through this. Oh, yeah.
And if I start at the end, then I know we'll capture the latest ones.
Let's start with Kush.
Yeah, I was starting to type that in, and then you all.
Again, if your name is not on there, please forgive us. We're just trying to capture this in real time, and as the donations are coming in. Thank you, Miss Gloria, $1,000. Anisu, $5. Tulokwe, $250. Gia $500, Kush $500, Camille B $1,000. There was a group that gave us 2,500 pounds. Thank you. Dennis O $1,000, Victor $100, Michael $100, Linda $500, Gilbert $75, Eric $200. These donations are coming in, and I can't really keep up with them. Andy G $1,000, Rosa K. But the names are on here. As far as oversight, several of you have asked questions on the chat. Oversight, we have a board that vets these funds. So we don't touch this $1,000 campaign donations. We have a bigger board that we run this by, that have oversight for these funds. Brenda P $1,000. The names are on here. Thank you all for your contribution. I will pass the call back to Mira.
We should do a list of the people who contributed today. I don't know if people want us to publish this list, since we won't be able, but we'll call the names at our next meeting, which is in 1 week. Is that correct, Amira?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so these names, we will call them out at our next meeting after they've done a complete tabulation. But we want to thank all of you for the contributions. This is really wonderful. I think by the end of today, we should be nearing 30,000 towards our $1 million, which is great. And we'll hope that we're going to go ahead and put it on the website. By next week, we should see an icon on our website that says $1 Million Campaign, and we'll keep updating to show you where we are in our campaign. Thank you very much. Thank you, Abraham. Miss Sylvia? Hello?
Sorry, I was muted. I couldn't unmute myself. Thank you so very much to our CFO for the update. And like he said, we have quite a few contributions coming in. The numbers are coming in rapidly, so are the names. And one really has to have that quick eye to capture everybody that's coming in. But like Her Excellency says, we are very grateful for the monies that are coming in, your time, your participation, and your contribution. And to move forward, Excellency, before I bring back our engineer, Thomas, for the last word. So there's been 4 questions on chapter formation. People are not very clear how this works and how it happens. Can you just please drop that in for me for a minute? Because some of them saying they're in the UK, they want to go to sleep.
Madam?
Yes.
Okay, so I see a little comment. Some people don't want their names called out. So
I didn't.
Well, how are we going to do this?
So we need to probably just publish the total collected.
Okay, I didn't put last names.
Okay, it's just first names only. Okay.
Just first names.
Okay.
So, Your Excellency, can you touch on that?
What was the question?
3 or 4 people have asked questions. They said they hear we have chapters. They want to know how the chapter formation works. Who can start a chapter, who, where, when, and what?
That's correct. So again, when we unveil our new website, it's going to show you the chapters that are already established. And if you are aware we don't have a chapter, like I see somebody was talking about New Zealand. There was somebody who was on the call yesterday from New Zealand. We really would like to have a chapter in New Zealand. We're going to put you in touch with somebody from New Zealand who was on the call yesterday. We're looking for Australia. There are different states that we don't have chapters. So if you want to establish an ADDI chapter, please reach out to Miss Sylvia. She's going to flash her email and her phone number. Miss Sylvia, once you have 8 to 10 people in your state, in your region, let us know. We'll set up a call and I'll come in and I'll do a presentation to all of you and tell you all about ADDI and what it's all about. So yes, we would like to see as many chapters opened, ADDI chapters opened around the world. This is our time. This is our movement. We must spread the word.
Thank you so very much, Your Excellency. Going back to the schedule, we're almost done, people. Please bear with me. This has been very exhilarating, exciting, and very interesting and very informative for those of us who have the interest, of course, to continue with developing and building the Africa that we want, taking back the brain gain, as one of our illustrious speakers had mentioned. So at this moment, I'd like to call back our engineer, Thomas Oche. Engineer Thomas? Are you
Yes.
still here? Can you
Thank
please,
you, Sylvia. Are you
yes,
there?
can you give us a call to action, please, before I bring back?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't know what to say anymore. Back with my voice, okay? I'm the loudest because I'm fire up. Please say it with me. In your heart. For those who cannot smile, for those who are so cold, please say it with me. I am fire up. I'm pumped up. I'm ready to go. One more time. I am fire up. I'm pumped up. I'm ready to go. Wow. Wow. How can we be so fire up and you are in the midst of a fire, but you are wrapped up in the ice cold, in the ice pack? How can that be possible? How can that be possible? We are so fired up and you are here like, yes, brother, you are home. Get yourself fired up. Thank you. I cannot thank you enough. As I say, I met our doctor, our ambassador 4 years ago, and I knew that I become an incubation. She's been incubating me for 4 years. And now that I'm ash in Africa. Okay? I'm just find myself being ashed. Let's see, imagine, get into this dream with me. But I want you to wake up. Because Professor Lumumba said, we Africans, everybody have a right to dream. But African dreamers, they seem not to wake up. Imagine yourself, like me, that you are giving this $1,000 to invest in a project where tomorrow you and Thomas are going to open a company and become a shareholder and the prime investor in the first seat in building Africa. Imagine in yourself that all your kids will never have to go through what I went in Europe. After 2 hours of interview, being told that you will never get a salary for 1 year. Imagine that your kids will never have to give their resume to anybody because in Africa, we have work for them. They will be CEO of that company that you and me have created. Imagine one time that what we are doing here, we are the owner. I'm kind of like not really agree with our own board saying that no, we are donating. Yes, we are. Yes, we are, because that's the law. But for Thomas, I am investing for my kids. My $1,000 that I put there is an initial investment for my retirement. Take it this way. If you cannot do it for yourself, what if we can do it for our great-grandchildren? If we don't, listen to me, if we don't, Chinese are going to do it. Europeans are going to do it. Don't take my word for it. And you know what they're going to build in Africa? I witness it because I'm a transportation engineer. They take the money to build a world-class highway and they put 2-inch asphalt on the ground. After 6 months, all the asphalt is gone. The project was delivered all over Africa. Okay? If you doubt about it, go back home, look at the road. Get out of the car. Look at the road. It's not pothole. The road become the mud after 6 months. You know what happened in California? We built that central column that you are seeing on that bridge. We built it in China. Because in America, there were no company available to give us the steel, the type of steel that we needed. That type of steel, where do you find it again beside China? In Africa. How did China get it there? Because they imported that steel from Africa. Did I say it? Yes. They imported it from Africa. What if California could have bought that steel directly from Africa? We send our engineer to be there 24/7 for inspection of that central column. Build a mountain just like that. What about if it was Africa? It will never happen. That is what we want, engineer and architect, all of us to come together, design this bridge, design this high-speed railroad, design this 5-lane to this 5-line that connect East Africa to West Africa, and in every 200 to 500 miles, we're going to build a city as the ambassador explained to you guys. That is the project. And you're going to be telling me, by the way, my name is Thomas. Stop taking away my name. I'm warning you. I'm the skeptical one. But when ambassador sold me this dream, I bought it. I didn't talk about it. I saw somebody saying the word scam. No. Scam don't belong here. You cannot be among us, the black people. For one, in our lifetime, we came together and you talk about scam. You've been scammed all your life. What about the 401k that you lose half of it? Do you think that you've been scammed? The stock market washing away your money. You've been scammed with the bank every day. You don't see that. You come here where there's only one opportunity to build Africa, and you're testing, oh, what about scam? No. If I could stay, my brothers and sisters, at the mountaintop of the higher mountain and scream, black people, let's come together and do this one and for all for ourselves. I gave my $1,000 with, and I wanted to make sure that I'm the first one to call the CFO to put the $1,000 in that pocket to start the project. To start, I have my money where my mouth is. Because the way I'm a father of 4 kids living in California with a mortgage. Okay, father of 4 kids living in California. I didn't give you because I have 1,000. No, because you need to make sacrifices. You cannot make sacrifices. You cannot win without giving something in life. Ask yourself, what are you giving in exchange to get Africa out of it? Yes, there is destabilization. Yes, there is security issue. See, when you see somebody, you saw somebody stopping a car on a 5-lane high-speed rate, traveling at 280 miles. You're talking about security? See, when you saw somebody stopping a bullet point, a train, traveling 280 kilometers per hour. What security are we talking about? The project themselves, they are secure. There is no way that those who stop in the road to stop cars are going to happen. That's not going to happen. Because it will be the entire Africa moving east-west. Not getting the goods from Kenya and travel all around the sea to come deliver to Cameroon to bring it in the mainland. Not the Cameroon importing one of these, whatever, I don't know what it was, the first imported in the world, and that is manufactured in Ghana or somewhere in the land. They manufactured it there, the Chinese take it to China, and Cameroon is said the first importer. How can that resonate in your head? Energy, solar panel. The best saying, listen to me, the best saying of solar panel is excavated in Sudan. How come the Chinese would take the sand from Sudan, take it to China and manufacture solar panel to send to America, into Africa? What if we can make that ourselves? We have the manpower, we have the engineers, we have the architect, we have the technician, we have the roofers, we have every kind of thing. Oh my goodness, I believe that I'm gonna close it here because I am so fired up. I am so thankful that we can finally see the dream. Join us for the vision. Join us for where we are going. Do not join us for where we are today. In 2 weeks, we need $1 million. Just to open this, just to make this happen. If we don't have it, brothers, if we don't have it, The Chinese will get it. You know what we're going to be saying 1 year, 3 years from now? Oh, yeah, it's just like the other, it was just like the other thing that go on in Africa. I really, really thank Dr. Arikana. I really thank you, Sylvia. I thank you, Walter. Walter told me about the Buffalo Soldier. I watched the movie. We want to become the Buffalo Soldier of this project. Go and watch that movie. Please. I cannot thank you enough for donating, even if it's just $1. Please donate $1, donate 5, donate 10, donate what you can for now. For those who don't have 500, put 5 people together, 5 people in the household, and make sure that you secure your place in the train. This is a train that is going to be living. I cannot thank you enough, Miss Sylvia. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. Beautiful. I'm sure everybody is full with information today, and we've learned quite a bit, and I've heard quite a lot of inspirational pitches. If you're not interested, hey, I don't know which other way to take you. Your Excellency, there's a question here for verification. They said that there was a statement made by Dr. Maponga of South Africa stating that the African Union has officially recognized the 6th region as the 6th region of Africa. Is that true? There's some, I think twice, somebody asked the same question twice. Is there a semblance of truth to say, yes, it's official, that we're 6th region?
Yes and no. Yes, because the process through which decisions are made at the African Union is as follows. There is the Permanent Representative Council, PRC, which is made up of 55 African ambassadors. These ambassadors live in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, which is the capital city, which is the headquarters for the African Union. Decisions, anything to do with AU, comes through the PRC. The PRC will approve issues that are within their pay grade. What they cannot approve, they take it on to the Executive Council. The Executive Council is made up of the 55 foreign ministers, one from each country. They meet twice a year. The issue of the 6th region, it did come through the Executive Council. It was approved, but for it to become a decision, it has to now go to the AU, which is now made up of the Assembly, which is made up of the heads of states. So almost look at it as the House, the Senate, and the Executive, which is the President. So our Assembly is made up of the 55 heads of states. The issue of the 6th region must be approved by the heads of states as a decision. It has not yet gone to the heads of states. The reason it has not gone from the Executive Council to the heads of states is because there was no representative body that was representative of the true African Union definition of the African diaspora, which is all people of African descent, regardless of where they are born. Now, I will say one thing. It's one of the items on our blueprint to get 1 million names so we can then make a case to the heads of states that the 6th region must be officially approved as a decision. Once we are approved as a decision by the heads of states, currently the 6th region is a political decision. It is not yet been approved as a decision for implementation by the heads of states. And that's why I said yes and no. So we need to take the 6th region issue to the heads of states. Then once approved by the heads of states as a decision, we will be in the same position as ECOWAS from West Africa, SADC in Southern Africa, East African Community, Central African Community, and the Maghreb, which is North Africa. But we are not yet there. We need the 6th region approved by the heads of states as a decision. Once that happens, my hope is we will then argue for us to have also ambassadors from the diaspora who will join the other ambassadors in the PRC so they can advocate for the diaspora and also work with the other ambassadors to direct or shape the direction in which our continent is going. So we need to work towards the 6th region getting approved as a decision by the heads of states.
Thank you very much, Excellency. Sorry, I was choking. I was getting some water.
I saw another question about passports.
Yeah, that's the one I was going to read to you, yes.
The African passport was approved by the heads of states. It is now, the issuance of that passport is going to be from the countries. So wherein lies another problem. When we move the agenda for the 6th region to the heads of states, we need to make sure that it is inclusive of the descendants of the formerly enslaved. Currently, even the African passport, you have to be a citizen of an African country before you can qualify to apply for the African passport. You have to go to your country of citizenship to apply for the African passport. They are currently working on the requirements, who qualifies to apply for an African passport. But again, it's limiting, it's leaving behind our children, descendants of the formerly enslaved. So the document that we are going to draft, the concept note that we are going to draft to deliver to the heads of states should go something like this. The definition of the African diaspora should be all people of African descent living outside Africa, regardless of where they were born. And they should have the same citizenship status as those born on the continent. We'll only add a caveat to say, if you are not born on the continent, we would like to add pathways to citizenship. And that's something that we will discuss with the board to see how the lawyers that are working on it will make sure that we have practical ways that people can be on the pathway to citizenship. Once the heads of states approve it in Addis, keep in mind, the heads of states now have to go back to their countries, put it to their parliament to be approved, to be ratified as a decision. Then the country is ready to receive the children of Africa from the diaspora who were not born in that country.
Thank you so very much, Your Excellency. Last but not least, I think, Your Excellency, you're supposed to give us closing remarks, unless you just wanted to contribute something else before you close us out.
Okay, are there any other questions before I do the closing? Because once I do the closing, then we are done.
1 second, let me just check. 1 second. What is the implication if we're a 6th region? Do we have a voice and get represented?
That's exactly what I was saying. The document that we would like to deposit with the heads of states for approval will have an expanded definition that's inclusive of descendants of the formerly enslaved, that they are awarded the same citizenship status, and then the heads of states have to take the decision back to their countries for ratification. Once a country ratifies, it's ready to accept the diaspora based on the pathway to citizenship that would have been approved. So it all depends on the ratification and the approval from the heads of states.
Thank you, ma'am. Last question. I'm confused with the $1 million project, with all different projects. How does that work? I apologize if this question was already answered. Thank you, but please explain. That's the last question I'm taking for the day.
The $1 million campaign, like I said, we have various projects that we're looking at. ADDI's mandate is to mobilize African diaspora to participate in the development of Africa. Ours is to organize diaspora to go home in an organized way, identifying projects that diaspora can invest in a seamless way, low-hanging fruits, but because it's very difficult for diaspora. Believe me, over the years, I've seen brothers, sisters go to Africa, spend their last dollar. Those African Americans, African Caribbean who really wanted to go home, a lot of them ended up coming back because they just didn't get the support they needed to succeed at home. We understand all that. ADDI is saying we will facilitate, we will go home organized in a way that we know we are most likely to succeed. For example, the Travaco Value Corridor is a perfect example. There will be so many opportunities, but the beauty of Travaco is that you are going to be on the driver's seat. So all the questions that you would ask to say, well, what about this? No, you are on the driver's seat, particularly you engineers. This is your baby. You are the anchor sector. You are the foundation of Travaco. We are going to be impacting the lives of over 500 million people. That's what the opportunities are going to be opened up with $1 million. That's what we can do. ADDI, in order to create that environment that you can go in, we need money. And that's what we're planning to do. That's what the $1 million campaign is about. Part of it will buy a bond. The other part will pay for diaspora. That's your transportation, your accommodation, your per diem while you're there actualizing before the program starts making its own money. We have to have money to get you there. We already have, like, for example, we have one country that wants us there so badly. They're giving us accommodation. They're giving us offices. So there's a lot happening when we come in and as an organized ADDI. Let me emphasize that the heads of states have really, really wanted to see an organized African diaspora come home. This is music to their ear. So let's organize. When we are together, it's easier for us to make demands. We have a louder voice. And especially now when we can manage to get this bond, once we have the bond and the heads of states here, that the diaspora are sitting on a bond that's worth $500 million, the conversation changes. If you have no money, no voice. Nobody wants to talk to you. But the minute we have money, the situation changes. And then the other programs that you see, the women's empowerment, the youth empowerment, those are humanitarian projects. For example, ADDI might be, through the foundation, might be a shareholder of Travaco. If we have any returns, they'll come back to ADDI to fund the humanitarian projects. We will always concentrate on humanitarian projects. But what we are raising is facilitation money, because that is our mandate. We can't facilitate diaspora to come together without money. That's the difference.
Thank you so very much, Your Excellency. And on that note, our CFO posted a note, an apology from ADDI. Let me just reiterate it for those of you who haven't read it. On behalf of ADDI, the CFO is saying, we apologize for publishing and mentioning names for those of you who were offended. We thought from the majority who were asking us to know who donated what and who was on there, we went by majority vote. So for those of you who were offended or upset by this, we sincerely apologize as ADDI. Nonetheless, only your first names were used. We did not use anybody's last name. So I hope that will be a little bit of a consolation. And on that,
actually today, we did not call any names for people who contributed today. The names that were called were the ones from yesterday. But still, yes, the apologies are given because we did not mean to offend anybody. So we will make sure in the future, we just give you the total that's collected.
Your Excellency, they're asking for the hard copy books that I think I can answer that for you. It's just one question.
What is the question?
It says, if we are purchasing the hard copies, are we getting your personal autograph in these books?
Yes, my sister. I have a desk in my garage. I have 4 humongous crates. I got a desk in my garage and I'm doing nothing but signing my autograph. Yes. I am personally sending everybody a message of encouragement and thanking you for ordering the book. And yes, you have my full signature and date.
Thank you.
If you paid $59, you're getting an autographed hardcover that I hope that it will be a family heirloom.
And by the way, there are only 5,000 autographed copies. So I would like to encourage all of you on this call and even those that came yesterday, if you'd like to get an autograph book, it's a limited edition of only 5,000. And I believe quite a few of them have gone out from what I saw from yesterday. And I'm still seeing some people right now saying, I've just ordered the book for $50-something and I'm hoping it's gonna be autographed. For all the other questions and any other issues and comments you made, may I also share with you our info at our ADDI.org, our info at info at our ADDI.org, Frank Orange at our ADDI.org. For any other information, any other requests that you would like to talk to ADD about, you want to become part of ADDI, you're an affiliate, or any projects that you all have been sharing and the collaborations that you're looking for towards becoming a part of ADDI, please address it to info@addi.org. And don't forget, order your Africa 101. If you want an autographed copy, you buy the most expensive copy. Somebody said, Your Excellency, you need to do this Africa 101 in the French language as well, because even
Yes.
Francophone wants to hear and see what you have written in Africa 101.
Absolutely. Actually, two things I'm going to do. I'm going to translate it in Spanish and French and Arabic. And also, I'm getting ready to start my, to record the audio version of it. The audio version, I'm going to start in English. I'm going to have to find somebody to do the audio version in French.
So with that being said and done, like I said, I see you guys are still making comments, some of them very positive. Your Excellency, the people are saying thank you very much for being so insightful and the information that you have shared.
There's
And
also a comment about
Thomas,
Portuguese. I will make sure I will translate it into all the 4 African Union languages, including Swahili.
and
Portuguese is one of them.
Thank you so much. You guys heard that. So the languages are coming. And Engineer Thomas, you got everybody on fire. I don't know how many fires I'm trying to put out on their comment, fire, 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 fire. So you have everybody going up in flame right now with the ADDI concept. So my people, let me reintroduce Her Excellency to close us out. On behalf of ADDI, let me say thank you so very much for all the participants, for all of you who have stayed with us on this call. I know it's been quite a long day, but it was well worth it. We have learned a lot. We have shared quite a bit, and it was a pleasure serving each and every one of you. Your Excellency.
Yes, once again, I see some questions about the book, Africa101.org. Africa101.org. If you could please flash that again, somebody was asking. Let's see, there was another question. I can't remember what the other question was. Miss Sylvia, see what that question was.
For which one? Anyway, the book?
I'm not sure. There was another question. I just didn't make a note of it. Oh, there was somebody was asking about a contact person for the UK. Please take care of that.
Yeah.
We have, yes,
they can contact me on info. Yes. I mean, there's
Wonderful.
there's a lot of questions on different chapters. I just put the info plus my Robertsons at addi.org. Please contact me and I'll be more than happy to work with you guys. Yes, absolutely.
And then somebody wants to see the bank information again. Could you please flash that again, the bank information?
Amira, can you flash, or is it the CFO? Can somebody flash that, please?
Yeah,
I put the book website. Please, if you want to see it, it's on there. And I'm giving you my my email address for any chapter information. Please feel free to contact me.
And then they want the Cash App handle as well as the text message handle, please. Everybody must send a text so we can make sure we.
Yet Cash App. The CFO said we don't have it completed yet. So it's website, Zelle. There's the Bank of America information as well.
What about the text message number? I didn't see that flashed out.
It was there. She just took it off. It was right there, right here.
It was there
for quite a bit. Yeah, she had it up for quite a bit. Yes.
Oh, I see. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Well, I want to thank all of you for taking the time to really, especially those who stayed up as long as we have been out here. This is really our time. I want you all to know that I have given away, I've blocked 2 years of my time to put into this. I'm a medical doctor and I had to really talk to my husband. He's saying, how can you do this and not make a living? I said, I am making a living. I am investing in our children, grandchildren, and generations to come. It is a very painful thing as a mother, as a grandmother, to think that my grandchildren, I can leave them in this world and they can easily be the next George Floyd. That is a painful thing to accept. With what I know and the opportunities that I've been given and what I have been exposed to, it would be truly criminal of me to not share with my fellow African diaspora what I know and not use the connections that I have acquired to open the doors for my fellow African brothers and sisters in the diaspora. There will be a place in hell for me. Believe me, my brothers and sisters, I understand how things work in Africa. I understand what needs to be done to get around the roadblocks. I just want to use my knowledge, my connections to open the doors. I know the challenges that you face as diaspora. It is not easy living outside Africa. You all know that. I talk about my husband. I met him over 40 years ago, and every year he was going home next year. The man has never felt quite comfortable being here because he has always wanted to go, except next year never came. It's not easy living abroad as an African. It's not easy being Black and being completely disconnected. I can't even imagine what it's like for Black Americans to just be disconnected and not know where you come from. But for the African Americans, I want you to know that the African heads of states, they want you home. All of Africa is home. You are wanted. Those who try to tell you the Africans don't want you, that's a lie. It's a bold-faced lie. You are wanted. And they understand that as African leaders, we have failed our children, descendants of the formerly enslaved. The Jews know Israel is home. German Americans know Germany is home. Italian Americans, they know Italy is home. The Irish, you name it. The only ones who are disconnected from their countries of origin, continent of origin, are Black people. You must reconnect with your anchor. And your anchor is saying, welcome home. This is where we are. Like Brother Walter said, 20 years from now, if your granddaughter was to come to you and say, grandmother, there were problems with the Black race. There were problems in Africa. What did you do? Grandpa, what did you do? I hope what we are doing today is the journey that will be able to let you say, sit down, granddaughter, sit down, grandson. These were the issues. And together, this is what we did. While the mission is not yet completed, this is where you need to pick up. And you must always know, because we did what we did, our shoulders are going to stand firm for you to stand on. This is what we are doing to prepare to answer that question from our grandchildren. Grandmother, grandfather, what did you do? It's just that simple. We must fix this. They didn't choose to be born in such a world. We, their parents, their grandparents, have a responsibility to fix this. We cannot leave them cursed. They have no idea as how to fix this. So let's own our problems. Let's make a commitment to fix it. And that means we fix our Africa. A stable and respected Africa equates to a stable and respected people of African descent around the world. And that means unity, unity of purpose, and ridding ourselves of the legacy of slavery and the legacy of colonization. I thank you all for all the donations, for everything we continue to do. I ask all of you to go into your phones, your database, reach out to 10 more people, tell them about ADDI, ouraddi.org, have them join, become a family member, have them contribute to the $1 Million Campaign, become a founding father, a founding mother. Africa is ours for the taking. I've been talking for so long, my throat is dry.
That's me too.
It is our responsibility. The building of the Africa that we want, it is our responsibility. Let's own that responsibility. No one can bring sustainability to Africa but us. No one can give us our economic liberation but us. Unity of purpose, cleansing ourselves of this self-hate and mistrust of each other. Besides, this time we are not doing it for us. It's about our children and generations to come. Thank you all so very much. Brother Thomas, thank you for taking the leadership and bringing all these engineers and architects together. Brother Walter, thank you. I'm calling you TD Jakes moving forward. Thank you for the good words, for the strong message that you have given us. Sister Amira, I'm calling you Angela Davis moving forward. And Sister Sylvia, work your way to being Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, Jesus.
Thank you so very much, everybody. We truly appreciate you. Till next time, our next webinar, when is it, Sister Amira?
24th.
24th is a general webinar. I'm going to be addressing all diaspora, telling them all about it. So please, since you registered for this webinar, you'll definitely get another invitation as well. We look forward to seeing you then. Thank you again and have a great weekend, whatever is left of it. Aluta continua.
Recorded copies can be gotten from Olayinka20 at our addi.org. I see a lot of you are requesting for recorded copies. Yes, we do have them. Please send, if you can't spell the Olayinkas, you can still go to info at our addi.org. Otherwise, go to Olayinka20, the number 20 at our addi.org. Olayinka20 at our addi.org, or if you prefer Robertson's with an S at our addi.org, I can also facilitate. So please feel free to reach out to us at info at our addi.org. Join our movement at www.ouraddi.org, and to get the book, an autographed copy, go to www.africa101.org. Thank you very much again. May God bless us all. The movement is on. The train has left the station. We're not turning back. God bless you all. Thank you so much for being on this program today. Until the 24th, Aluta continua, Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
All right, Ashe. Thank
Ashe.
you so much.
Ashe.
Great job, Thomas. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you, the engineer, the architect. Please reach out. Send this to every single technical person you know, technician, laborer, anybody, journeyman, everybody that you know that can participate in the construction. As construction is concerned, everyone that can participate is welcome. This is not only for engineers and architects. Every single one is needed. When we are building a city, every labor, manpower is needed. Please, please share your experience on the web. Text, log into our addi.org. Leave it. Post whatever you learn in your Facebook page. Share with your Black friends. Share with people you know. You don't have to be engineer to be part of this. You don't have to be medical doctor to be part of it. At this, as long as you are a Black man, your place is here. We are going home. We are going home. There are a lot of things that the ambassador haven't told you yet, but those are coming up. Things that are ready to shovel. Wow. Do not miss the next section. Do not. Please do not miss the next section. We have things that are already ready to go, ready as we are speaking. This $1 million, if we do close this deal, oh my goodness, I believe that every Black person can become a millionaire. I really genuinely believe so. It is not written anywhere that we, the Black people, do not deserve to be billionaire too. But if we start with this 1 million that we are raising, to have the seat at the front row, have a place on the table. Once we are on the table, guess what? There will be no more corruptions, because you are the one that's going to be negotiating the deal. We talk about corruption because the other people are there, they are selling Africa. What if you are the one sitting? Are you a corrupted person? Are you and me sitting here, suffering, going through all the racism, all kinds of schism? Are we corrupted? I don't believe so. Are we all going to get there? Absolutely not. There is a crisis going on. What if we can give that $1,000 before anything happens tomorrow? I gave this 1,000 like that was my last day on earth. Yes, that's how I felt when I was giving it. Because my motto was like, what if I don't make it tomorrow? I want to make sure that my 1,000 is there and for others to make sure that they get it through, with or without me. With or without me. That was my motto of making sure that I gave my 1,000 the first day. All right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So much, everyone. I truly appreciate it.
So thank you, everybody. We are going to be, we'll leave it there. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. We want to close up so we can get the recording available for everyone. So we got it in. But thank you so much. I appreciate everyone's participation. Looking forward to next week. Well, is it next week? It is next week, the 24th. Yeah. So looking forward to the 24th. Thank you all again for your participation.
Beautiful.
Give thanks. Ashe.
Bye. Ashe, ashe.